Hey everyone, welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 327, our Game of the Year awards for 2025. We're recording this live on December 2nd, 2025, and so glad that you guys are here with us. I know several of you guys are joining us in the live chat. Be sure to let us know if you're there, say hi, and share all your picks for the Game of the Year as well. But it's just not just me and the live chat. It's also Barry and Greg. Barry, how you doing? You ready for this?
I'm ready. I've been born ready. I've been looking forward to this. It's a really interesting year because there's so many years where we could just pick, like there's banner years or 2017, Breath of the Wild and stuff like that. But I feel like outside of maybe one game, this is going to be an interesting year because I don't feel like there's really that that level of pillar in the sense that one defining
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah. I won't spoil too much, but you may be onto something. Greg, how you doing?
Hanging in there for sure, but this is definitely one of the best episodes in my opinion, of course. It's always fun to round up and summarize the year as a whole and figure out which games we all thought were the best and perhaps which games we played the most and which games we wish we played more of and all that kind of fun stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah. So, just a quick programming note so you guys know what's going on. So, we're going to go ahead and have another episode in a couple weeks on December 16th, 2025. And that'll be just Barry and Greg is the plan right now. And mostly what they're going to be talking about on that episode is the Game of the Year awards, or sorry, the Game Awards, our Game of the Year awards, the Game Awards that's happening on December 11th. But maybe some other things that might pop up then as well. And then we're going to take a holiday break and we'll be back in January of 2026. So stay tuned to our social media and Discord for all the dates and everything so you know when we're coming back and all those different things. Speaking of which, if you haven't joined those places like social media and Discord and everything, be sure to head to those links in the show notes or the YouTube description. We'd love for you guys to join us there, especially when it's in between episodes and holiday breaks and things like that. It's a great way to still stay connected in between all that. If you have never subscribed to us here on YouTube, if you're watching us live, be sure to do that, or watching us after the fact, be sure to do that. Or if you listen to the podcast, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app as well. And if you can, leave us a positive review. That also helps our podcast be able to be found by other people. Share it with other Nintendo fans out there that you know, and all that sort of thing. But tonight we're going to change things up just a little bit. As we said, this is our Game of the Year episode. We're going to probably going to go a little longer on this episode. Just a warning ahead of time. We usually go longer on the Game of the Year episodes. But before we jump into what we normally will jump into what we've been playing at this point, but we're going to skip that, and if we have enough time, we'll jump back into that at the end. So moving that section down to the bottom, and we're just going to jump right into some headlines. There's not a whole lot of information and news that's been happening over the last couple of weeks, but just a few stories that we want to make sure that you guys know about. So, Greg, kick us off with the typical Nintendo music.
well, I guess somewhat on this standard times, we've only got one new soundtrack added to the Nintendo Music app now, so we just got Super Mario Party Jamboree. So now you can do that as of November 24th. It was made available. So unfortunately, they didn't do one for the beginning of December yesterday, but hopefully they'll be able to catch up with the holidays coming in the upcoming Christmas holidays.
But while they didn't put out a lot of Nintendo music, they finally updated some NSO apps. Both the NES and the Game Boy were updated, and they finally say Nintendo Classics as opposed to, NSO. And now they've added Ninja Gaiden 2, and they've added Battletoads to the NES, and they've also added Bionic Commando and Kid Icarus for the Game Boy. This is the Kid Icarus that never even made it to Japan. So who knows what that means? Some Kid Icarus love. Will we see Uprising or a brand new game coming? Who knows?
Nice. Well, Pokemon Legends ZA now has Mewtwo, Mewtwo Night, and Mewtwo Night X and Y Mewtwo and Mewtwo Unite X and Y. And you can now, starting today on December 2nd, you can receive all of those Pokemon through the mystery gift feature within Pokemon Legends ZA, and on both the Switch and the Switch 2 version. And Mewtwo's extra side mission will also become available as well. If you beat the mission, you'll be able to add Mewtwo to your team, and you can also use the Mega Stones you get through the mystery gift feature to Mega Evolve Mewtwo into Mega Mewtwo X and Y.
And just a reminder, even though Steve mentioned got this confused with this particular episode, the actual game awards that will be run will be airing on December 11th. So you can be sure to tune in to see which games actually won the official game awards, not to confuse with our game of the year that we'll be doing momentarily here.
Yeah. Don't confuse us with Jeff Keighley. I know it's easy to do. So Barry, what do you think of these headlines?
I think this NSO app was fantastic. I want to see more of this. This is great. There's still so many great games not put out. I love that they're adding new quests before the DLC for Pokemon Legends ZA. So now I've got to go do that because I haven't done that yet. And I'm curious why only one thing for Nintendo Music. I wonder, it's not like they don't have a big game coming out or anything, that they could play music for.
Right. Maybe we're getting that dropped soon. Greg, what do you think of these headlines?
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't anything. I even opened up the official app to see if they did post something like mysterious. Like, oh, breaking news! They uploaded a new soundtrack. But nope. It was just always just showing the highlights for um, that one single soundtrack for Mario Party Jamboree. So yeah, that's kind of unusual. But as I said, usually there's times where they'll have insert a special soundtrack here or there after the fact. Um, but I know they don't usually do a lot of Switch 2 games, and they don't really do the Switch games immediately after they launch. So I don't think Metroid Prime 4 would necessarily go up right away. But um, who knows? I could be fully wrong on that. But I would think that they would have added several of these soundtracks from games that were released like this year, or even like completed Donkey Kong Bonanza if they really wanted to highlight those. But yep, that's pretty much it on that one. For the NES things, I didn't see that they actually did run an update on those. Does it still say like Nintendo Classics NES, or do they both just apps just say Nintendo Classics? I didn't see that, but
Like,
Nintendo Classics
uh,
now.
yeah, the NES and Game Boy like icons are still on there, but before it was called like Switch Online. And so now
okay,
the rest of the apps were all updated in the past to Nintendo Classics, and now NES and Game Boy now say Nintendo Classics.
I did forget to
uh,
mention they also added button mapping for both, which is fantastic.
Which is possibly
Finally,
the most
finally.
exciting part of this update.
Yeah, true. It's finally like you can play the games the way they're meant to be played.
Yeah, yeah. None of that A/B crap.
Why be?
it'll-
Why be? You trained us that way with Super Nintendo.
that's why I usually prefer to use the NSO controller thing that they had sold
Mm-hmm.
with it. So is that being rebranded next? Then Barry's gonna have to buy a secondary copy of it.
No,
Yeah, I think
not
the only app right now that does not say Nintendo Classics is the Genesis one, which would make sense because it's not Nintendo Classics. So I don't know if they're going to eventually rebrand that one to something else, or if it's always going to be just Nintendo Switch Online. So,
they also
but
haven't updated that one in
Well,
a long time. It's almost like they
no,
forgot about it.
yeah. Yeah, well, Sega's continuing to release games and collections and things like that, so I don't know if that's really a priority for them anymore, which would make sense. I mean, like, I don't know how much Sega gets for that. Like, I think they would probably be more apt to release their games again and get paid like normal rather than whatever potential pennies they're getting from from NSO subscriptions. Well,
yeah, never know.
yeah, I'm excited about the updates as well, and excited to eventually get Mewtwo once I beat Pokemon Legends ZA, so I can actually do that the necessary things to actually get Mewtwo. But yeah, excited. I'm mostly excited that it's not a timed thing. That's what I was really concerned about. I was reading through the details. I was like, please tell me it's not only this week. Please tell me that. Okay, I'm good. I still got time. Because it's just starting now, so that's really good. But I was also like, because I guess before when they'd use those timed releases on previous Pokemon games, and I was used to that. And sometimes you could get those just through gifts, and you didn't have to beat the game first, which was awesome because I could get these overpowered Pokemon and then just walk right through the game. You can't do that with Mewtwo, so you can actually beat it like normal first. So I was
Oh, it's not
slightly
that hard.
disappointed. No, I just got to put the time into it. So, and as we'll talk about in just a bit, there's lots of games that are all competing at the same time. So I'm slowly but surely getting through Pokemon. Yeah, and excited to see what wins for Game Awards as well. I think we have some assumptions that are probably going to happen, but you never know. There could be some surprises. So, you guys ready to get into the Game of the Year awards?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do it.
yeah. Let's do
Born
it.
ready.
All right. So, Game of the Year awards. It's time, and very similar to last year, we've basically broken it down into 7 different categories that we'll be going through one by one. And in each of these categories, we'll kind of go through. If this is the first time you've ever tuned in for one of our Game of the Year episodes, we'll go one by one, going third place, second place, honorable mentions, and then first place is kind of the direction we'll be going for each of these categories. So, and it'll always be Greg, Barry, and me in that order, just to keep it really smooth and everything for a lot of different pieces that I have to juggle on my side. So it's really easy if we just keep the order the same. So we'll always get into Greg, Barry, and then me. Again, third place, second place, and then we'll do honorable mentions and first place together. And we'll be covering the different categories of, we'll start off with indie picks. So indie games, independent games for the Switch 1 and 2. And then third-party games for Switch 1 and 2. First-party games for Switch 1 and 2. In fact, all of these are for Switch 1 and 2. And then we'll move on to our new category that we added last year of remakes and ports for the Switch systems. And then we're going to move away from Switch and honor some games that were not released on the Switch systems this year. Then we'll go to one of our favorite categories of the worst game on the Switch systems. And then we'll end with our overall Game of the Year picks. So that's the direction you'll see us going. Again, indie games, third party, first party, remakes and ports, non-Switch, worst games, and then end it with the Game of the Year. And then we'll add up all the different points from the Game of the Year picks and be able to tabulate what our top 3 games for Switch 1 and 2 are, according to us 3 at NintendoFuse. So knowing that there's a lot of games out there and we didn't get to play them all. Barry played most of them. Greg and I didn't. As usual. But yeah, so for the most part, I think these are games that we have played. There's a handful of them here and there that I think we didn't play. I'd say especially when it comes to like ports and things like that, we may have played it on a different system before, but we know it's going to be good on Switch or something. So those kind of things happen. But for the most part, I'd say like 90 to 95%, maybe even more of these games we have played. And that's what we're basing all this on, is our experience, whether playing, watching a lot of gameplay online, having some sort of experience with these games. So knowing that maybe your favorite games aren't going to be on there because maybe we didn't even get a chance to see them, play them. Maybe we, for some reason, don't even know they exist. So if that's the case, let us know in the comments or in our Discord or on social media. Say, hey, you forgot this game. This is one of my favorites. You guys need to play it. Let us know. because if there's games out there that you really love that we need to be playing and we should have considered for Game of the Year this year, let us know. In fact, we do have several people I think that have told us their Game of the Year picks, and so Barry, are you going to be kind of reading through those as makes sense in our Discord? I think people have some of them have
I'll
responded,
do my
so
best.
so if there are some people in our Discord that have responded and said, "Hey, this is our pick for this category," we'll throw it in at the very end as well. And then if you are listening or watching right now live and you have picks and you haven't thrown in our Discord, let us know in the live chat and we will refer to them as well. So let's hop into our first category, and that's going to be the indie games on Switch 1 and 2. So, indie games, and we're going to kick it over to Greg first, of course.
All right, for my number 3 pick was one of our game chat games that would happen big earlier on in 2025 here. So without further ado, that game is Guns of Fury. So I was kind of surprised to really enjoy this one as much as I did. It was a very classic style, like run and gun style game that also has some Metroidvania type elements tied into it. And I was very blown away, figuratively speaking, to see the how great the game was and how great all the different mechanics were and how much exploration and everything that was all involved in there. So that was my third pick, Guns of Fury.
Nice. Barry, number 3 for indie games.
Indie games were tough. There were a lot of good ones this year. But when it came down to it, I had to go with Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo. Just what a phenomenal Zelda game this is. This is Yo-Yo-Vania, if you will. This is pretty much you get to play like Game Boy Color style top-down Zelda, but use your yo-yo and interesting, unique puzzles. Kind of brings back a little bit of Star Tropics love too. Just a really cool story and a big adventure. You have this big city you get to explore, dungeons, bosses, just there's just so much. They even use like a badge system, very reminiscent of the Paper Mario games. And just if you haven't played this, you're missing out. This is just a truly awesome game.
Nice. Nice. Well, I'm going to surprise you guys a little bit because I picked a game that it falls into a specific genre that I typically hate, and yet I've got it as my third place pick, and that is Hades 2. Yeah, one I have to owe it to another game that we played together that kind of opened my mind to this particular style of oh, why am I blanking on the name of the genre?
Lost in Random was the other
Yeah,
name. It was
but the
roguelike.
roguelike. So Barry and I hate roguelikes, except for like Lost in Random kind of opened this door to this other style of roguelike that I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of okay with this. Like this is the way that I don't mind roguelikes that fall into this kind of category. And then talking with Tristan, and he's like, "Oh man, like, what do you hate about all this stuff?" And so it opened my mind to all these other styles of games, and Hades 2 falls in that category, and I really really enjoy it. It's like I've basically just started the game, but yeah, having a blast. And it takes what like Lost in Random is definitely, the Eternal Die is kind of built on a similar kind of idea, and this just is so much better than that game. So yeah, really enjoying it. So Greg, for your number 2.
All right, so theme might be kind of developing in this for at least my picks this time around. So my number 2 pick was another game chat game that was also a Metroidvania game, and that was Blade Chimera. So that was another game we reviewed earlier this year, and that was another one that I had a ton of fun playing. So pretty much you kind of go, it's obviously kind of like Guns of Fury, just without the guns. You just use the more traditional attacking and weapons and take down some big monsters and stuff like you normally would in some of the Metroidvania type games, and they have some like quick dash attacks and all sorts of very fun gameplay elements. And I really enjoyed exploring everything through. Um, Going through it, I even like maxed out just about everything that you were able to, except for doing the secret boss was the only thing I couldn't handle at the end. But I had a ton of fun playing the game all the way through, and that was why I had to pick it for my number two pick.
Nice. Nice. Barry, number 2.
My number two is a more recent play, and it was also for a review. But it kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. I was just on Twitter. I was like, "Hey, this looks fun. I'd love to review it." And I got a code, and yeah, I fell in love. And that's a game called Windswept. So Windswept is a love letter to Donkey Kong Country, but instead of Donkey and Diddy, you are a duck and a turtle. But each of the levels are great 2D platforming goodness. They've got the hidden bonus like DKC has. They've got hidden collectibles to get lots of different puzzles, and even at the end there's a target and you have to figure out how do you hit the top of the target, and that's a little puzzle in itself. You got the animal buddies just like DKC, and what this game does that I really 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 respect is it gives you modifiers that other games don't. So you can make this extremely hard, or you can make it so you're invincible and you could have infinite jumps and you could just play through the level and just have fun, and anywhere in between. And I love that. I love that level of accessibility. So it's one of those where if you love DKC platformers, if you love 2D platformers, you really need to give this one a shot.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I remember we have not released that review yet, but when you were talking about it, I was like, I didn't have any idea this sort of a game exists. So that's pretty cool. All right, so for my number 2, I'm gonna go with a game that we got to feature a little bit on our Nintendo channel, because we also got we got an interview with the developers, and that's Star Overdrive. Yeah, I really enjoyed this game a lot more than I thought I would. It's got some things that we talked about that could slightly be better and improve, but it's a really strong game. And it kind of takes that idea of that world of like Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, and gives you some all this music stuff that's really tied into, and some story there of your lost companion, and that you have to find and figure out what's going on. And it's just a really cool that brought me in. There's parts that we even talked about in our game chat that I couldn't get past a certain part, but Barry helped me out with that. And then I just really really enjoy this game. I think it's got a lot of charm, and excited to see what this developer continues to do in the future as well. So Star Overdrive is number 2 indie game for me. So, Greg, we'll go back to you for any honorable mentions and then your number 1 pick.
Yeah, so this probably is no surprise if you've been listening to the last few podcasts here, but first some honorable mentions. I did put Beyond the Ice Palace 2, and also I did put Hades 2 here as well. I know my cousin absolutely loved like the Hades, the first one, and then even with Steve's advent to kind of push it to number 3, I'm still very interested to give that a shot. So I haven't even played that one. So that one is the reason why that one didn't make it any higher on the list, because it probably is more deserving than, or possibly more deserving than a few of the ones that I have on here instead. But for number 1, I did Hollow Knight Silk Song. So I really enjoyed the first game when it was first on the original Switch, and pretty much I was super excited pretty much when they announced that they were making a sequel, and then pretty much just like everybody else, we waited for for that to finally come. So I'm super glad that it came out this year. I had a ton of fun playing through at least the parts I have. I haven't even finished the game yet, just because of its increased difficulty level, or me not readjusting to the increased difficulty level. But it's a very well polished and very great game, and I can't go without any further recommendations. It's super fun. It's unfortunately somewhat pretty challenging, but I think it's very rewarding once you do take down like those really challenging segments and go through it. It's just a phenomenal game, and I don't think there's anything else that could pretty much top it in my eyes, anyways, for the indies games that came out this year.
Nice. A little little Metroidvania heavy this category there, Greg.
Yeah. All three.
Yep.
Nice. I mean, yeah, I think that's a cool thing. It's like we have our things, as you'll notice in later categories as well. There'll be some games that, yeah, some of us think are great, and others like didn't even come on our hop on our list at all because it's not our thing. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'm surprised I missed both of Barry's games. So I already marked those to try to see if I think I can to download them because like those are both games that I would really enjoy. So I'm eager to
Nice.
see what his number one pick is.
We're helping each other out.
That's
Like, who knows? I mean, our audience
that's
will
the
help
joy of
out
this.
too. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
Barry,
the joy
let's
of
move
this.
on
It's
to
just so
your
many
honorable
games.
mentions and your number one pick for indie games.
Uh, well, like you guys, my honorable mentions, you'll see a lot of them being game chats or reviews we've done over the years. And that's just because it's how we play most of our indie games, right? Is we get reviews, which is great because it lets us experience them. And no surprise, Blade Chimera and Guns of Fury are there. They're two great games, and they were so close to making my list. But I did feel like one of you would pick those, and I wanted to give some attention to other games. I put Tap Wizard 2 there. I know you guys weren't as big of a fan, but I had a lot of fun with that. That thing absorbed me for a while. Star Overdrive was there as well. I loved that game. Skies Above, I thought it was a really cool point and click story. Starlight Legacy was a fun RPG. I did that one pretty quickly, but it's a fun little indie RPG. Sea of Stars had DLC, Thrones of the Watchmaker. Not a full game, just a DLC add-on, but it was a blast if you like Sea of Stars. Old Skies, I put that was a lot of fun too, and Ruffy in the Riverside, a great little 3D platformer indie. Lost in Random, The Eternal Die. I put Silver Bullet, which was a really unique shmup. I did like Soldner X, Hammelstrummer, I think a little more than Steve, so I put that there. AVGN 8-bit came out of nowhere. That was just a blast. Spindle, what a story! Just a this really interesting story of loss and death. And Motor Doom, not in my top three, but I never thought Vampire Survivors and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater would mix, and it did. And it's done by a guy, one single developer, and I want to give some love to it because it's so unique. But my number one also goes to a single developer, and I love seeing these single developer games because that's a true passion project, and that's Tozua Knight, Order of the Alchemists. And boy, did this game like hook me. I've over 20 hours in this game. I've been working with the dev to even make it better. Just a phenomenal Metroidvania. Just it's so big. There's so many nuances to it that it does that other games don't. And for the fact that this is a single dev game, I couldn't believe it. Like I was just hooked. There's a good amount of challenge, and you can make it a little bit easier or harder depending on how you want to do it. Does some really unique storytelling within the game, where you actually get to a part of the game where suddenly you are like set in a situation that you can't escape from to complete it, and you deal with trauma. And I was like, whoa, I did not expect that. That's fantastic. It's got great bosses, it's got great environments, it's got, Metroidvania tropes as well. But if you love Metroidvanias and you haven't played this, I implore you to give this a shot. This is incredible that it was done by one person.
Nice. Nice.
I did finally give this a chance to play this right before the podcast, so I didn't have enough time with it to have it fully make my list, but that's why this particular Metroidvania didn't make my Metroidvania happy list.
You to
Cool.
get some time with it.
Yep.
Yeah, so when it comes to my honorable mentions, I think most of these are all games that you guys had mentioned already to some degree. So Starlight Legacy, I think was already mentioned. Very, I put Yuka Replay in this category of indie game as well as an honorable mention.
Nah, that goes somewhere else.
Is it?
I put that in remake. It's a
Ah, is it?
remake.
I guess so. I guess so. I didn't really, as I was going back through those, I didn't really think about that. So move that over. Spoiler alert, it didn't end up in my top 3, but it's a fantastic game. I put in, as I alluded to earlier, Lost in Random, The Eternal Die. I have not played it, but I've heard so many good things, which is already Greg's first pick is Hollow Knight Silk Song. And then Fast Fusion is also a really fun game if you're into, any of those type of the fast games. The new one for Switch 2 is really good as well.
We
But
got Remake to it.
yeah, if only. But here's something that I didn't see coming is my number 1 pick. And also it just happens to fall in that category of roguelike, which is really surprising. And a game that I really didn't see coming, but I finally tried it because I heard so many people playing it, and then I really found it hard to put it down, and that's Ball Pit. I cannot stop playing this game. I had to stop playing it to like play other games to make sure that I didn't just have a one-sided list. In this game, there's some others that I needed to play, but as I thought, I'm surprised myself that I have 2 roguelikes in my top 3 indie games. But this is the style of game that like I really like to play. It reminds me a lot of that one like mini game that was involved in the Pretty Girls Derby Dash game we played. It was like left to right, except for this one's bottom or streaming up from the bottom up. But being able to just hone in your skills, take a run at it, see how far you can get. And then how they've incorporated how to continue to the abilities and the different enhancements that you get to keep is really cool because it actually you have to build this little community, and each of the things you get, you have to put that in your community, and that adds extra enhancements to your characters. But then you have so many different characters, and they all have different features, and you have to do them in different ways. And so it's kind of a cool, like initially I thought it was like Breakout, but it's not. Like it doesn't matter, you don't have to actually like hit the ball as it's coming back down, so that's really cool. So it's kind of like this Breakout style, but in a roguelike adventure. And I found I was struggling to put it down, which I was really really surprised about. So yeah.
I
So
noticed that you had like 10 hours in. I'm like, oh, that's his number 1 for sure.
right, right, surprise surprise, a
I have it. I
roguelike
just haven't played it yet.
at number 1. But
Wow.
again, this is
You heard
the
it here
like
from.
the Hades style, Ball Pit, that kind of style of roguelike is what I enjoy. There's others that I just they're annoying. But this is not annoying. This is more like, oh, I can do this. Let me try one more time. And it's fun. So, so
Nice.
yeah, those are our indie picks. Any surprises, any thoughts before we move on to third party?
Well,
Anything,
do you
Greg?
want me to read what the people posted?
Oh yeah.
So Big Game said he only plays indies. So Guns of Fury, which was on Greg's list, Chronicles of the Wolf, and Ball Pit were his top 3. And Dave said Ball Pit and Stray Children for
Nice.
indies.
Cool.
You got some Ball Pit love there.
We do. It's a fun game. You guys should play it. I'm so
I haven't. I
surprised.
just haven't had time to play it.
That was one
Um,
I was like actually looking at potentially getting, so I probably have to add that to my list that along with the other 2 that Barry has on his list.
yeah, I think it's one of those interesting games because it doesn't like it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to it until you get into it and you're like, oh, okay, there's actually quite a bit there. So yeah, it's not just your basic game. You're like, why is this getting nominated for Game of the Year awards and all this stuff? But it's actually kind of robust and really addictive. It's one of those games that I think it's getting nominated and seen for the fun aspect. Like, I'm having a lot of fun with this game. So, all right, well, let's move into our third-party picks. So these are games that are not developed or published by Nintendo. You're not going to see Nintendo characters in these games. These are all third-party and games that have been released on Switch 1 or 2 within this last calendar year. Again, I think I forgot to mention this earlier, but we are including games from December 1st of 2024 all the way through November 30th of 2025. And so December of 2024 all the way through November this year. So if any games that just came out like December 1st, because recording this on the 2nd, those don't count. Any games that are coming out later this year, so Metroid Prime 4, not going to be on our list. It's not going to be on third party anyway, but it's not going to be on our list because it hasn't come out yet. It's also in December of 2025. So looking at third party games for Switch 1 and 2. Greg, kick us off with your third place pick.
All right, so usually this is always one of my categories where it's kind of hard to fill out, and this year is pretty much no different for mine. I understand that a few of these might not quite fit like this category, and probably fit some of the other categories, but I was trying to do the best that I could within everything that was kind of going on with everything. So my third pick was actually one that came out a little bit more recently that I haven't even picked up yet, but it's Mortal Kombat: The Collection pack. So it's basically all the classic Mortal Kombat games all cycled together into one nice complete package. So if you're pretty much a fan of the classic arcade games for Mortal Kombat, this pretty much has all their main ones there. Like they have like the first one, the second and third, and the trilogy, along and like Ultimate. So it's pretty much if you want any classic Mortal Kombat games here, they are all here in this one package. So that was my number three pick, the Mortal Kombat Collection.
Nice. And that's also like a Digital Eclipse kind of
Yeah.
museum kind of game as well that we've kind of covered before. So there's a lot more than just the Mortal Kombat games in there too,
Yep.
which is really cool.
Yep. Yep.
So Barry, number 3.
Unlike Greg, this was a tough category because there were so many of my favorite franchises releasing this year. So many, it was ridiculous, and I had to figure out the best way to narrow this down. And at the end of the day, my third pick went to a game that's very different than the normal games in the series, but it just captivated me, and that's Rune Factory: Guardians of Azuma. This is pick Zelda with light farming and light city building in a very Japanese style or setting, and that's what you get. Like 3D Zelda, you get dungeon areas, you get action RPG, you get level ups, you get characters that you get to take in your party. They all have different skills and abilities, and you could equip them. They all have different reputation, and you get to know them and do side quests. While it has farming, and some people may be turned off by the farming, you actually can have people in your village do the farming for you. So you don't have to do anything. It will do it automatically. You could build each of your towns. You get 4 different towns based on the different seasons. It's just so good, and it took me completely by surprise, and I just did not want to put this down. This is just an incredible action RPG, and if any of that sounds interesting, just give it a try. You will not be disappointed.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Getting other people to do the farming for me sounds fantastic. I'm going to go in a completely different direction, but not too surprising for you guys that have been listening to the podcast for a while. You know that I've been waiting for a good version of this game on Switch, and that is EA Sports FC 26. Um, Loved the fact that they actually brought a good soccer game to the Switch and Switch 2. The Switch 2 game plays really well. And the thing that I'm most excited about this game is they're releasing regular updates to it, like all the time. They're constantly improving it over and over and over again. It's like every week there's another update to this game that they keep listening to the player base, they keep listening to who's playing it, and they continue making it better, better and better and better. So that's pretty cool. I love that the gameplay itself, it does get overwhelming to me who just wants to play the game, play soccer. But there's so many other modes that are in there for other people who love managing teams and doing all the ultimate team stuff and everything else. So lots of game there, and love the fact that they keep updating it and they're listening to the fans, which is a huge bonus. So, Greg, number 2.
All right, so unfortunately, follow the trend that another game that I quite haven't played yet, but even though I've had this game on my shelf for 6 months, I know it's like really supported for not going the game keycard route. So it's actually a Switch 2 game, and that is Cyberpunk 2077. So I was really excited to get this and hopefully had a chance to play it, but unfortunately, just due to all the other timing and getting distracted with all the other games and everything, I didn't really have a chance to even fire it up yet. I did put it in the system to download any updates and everything, so I was all set for some of the traveling I did earlier this year, but unfortunately I did not quite bite the bullet yet, but it's still one that I still be willing to give a shot, especially as we go into the new year here. So that was my second pick, Cyberpunk 2077.
Nice. So, Barry, how about number 2?
So number 2, I had a little bit of a conundrum because technically 3 games in this series, really 2 games and a spin-off of this series, were released this year. And I was like, well, I don't want to put both of them on the same list. Like, I should pick one or the other. But based on our categories, they wouldn't be in the same category. So that conundrum disappeared. And I was like, okay, I don't have a restriction on this anymore. And while this may not be the best in the series, it is still the most recent in the series, and that is The Legend of Heroes: Trails Through Daybreak 2. This moves the story along, even further to the Horizons, which comes out early next year, I think January. This is the sequel to Daybreak 1. Again, a jumping in point for people who have not gotten into this series, and you really should. You follow the Daybreak team. You follow Van and his group in Calvard, but this time they start bringing in new characters or characters from previous games, and it starts to build the story on. Things that hold this game back are they introduce this really interesting time mechanic where you actually can go back and change things, but it is a little underutilized, and I really wish they utilized it a little more. But it's just still a fantastic action RPG and turn-based. It's 2 in 1. And if you love story-based RPGs, you need to get into the Trail series, and this is a great addition.
Nice. Yeah, I played a game that's I'll admit that I have not played the full game, but there's a demo out for my number 2 pick, and I checked that out, and I'm probably going to end up getting the full game of this one because I wanted to make sure I actually enjoyed it, and I am. And there's a lot of game in the demo that I'm realizing as well, and that's Star Wars Hunters. I really am enjoying this game so far. It feels like it's playing out like an actual like Star Wars story, and the graphics look great. The combat is fun. There's a little bit of quirks, but again, this is the demo, and so I'm guessing the actual game will be fixed and some of the.
I think you mean Star Wars Outlaws, and you just
I
teasing me with
played.
Hunter.
I
Hunter should
meant. I
come this
did.
year.
I did. That's what happens when I try to do this really quick. Star Wars Outlaws is the game. I played Star Wars
Hunters, I
Hunters.
miss Hunters.
Read it on the
I'm
screen.
watching
Star
that
Wars
trailer. I'm
Hunters.
like, oh
Yep,
man.
that is. I the whole time I'm looking at that too and going, that's not right. Something's off. But when you get in that moment and you're just like, I can't correct it
Yeah.
now because I can't think and talk at the same time. So yes, Star Wars Outlaws is the game that I'm definitely picking, and definitely not Hunters, because Hunters actually get closed down, didn't it?
Yeah, it's closed
Yeah.
down, sadly.
So
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Again, give
to
us offline mode.
Star Wars Hunters, but Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws is my number 2 pick. So apologies for that. Star Wars Outlaws is my number 2. So, all right, Greg, on to your honorable mentions and number 1. And hopefully I don't make any mistakes like that again. I mean, at least I'm not picking games that are like 3 years old. So, done that before.
Yeah, I know that was like a Husson staple with the. Well, I guess no, that was actually Steam that did the. But I think Husson liked to do that too with like the Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. But
Yeah.
I
I
forgot
picked
that Steve
Bayonetta
liked the
3 when it was
Bayonetta
like
so
3
much
years
that
old.
he likes.
Yep.
Yeah, I always know we tried to do that category for like the best one we played this year, and it was not to be like didn't release in the current year, but I guess we never did that. But I guess further moving on, I didn't really have any honorable mentions this time around, as I didn't really even have too many games that I played that already made the list. But I did play this number 1 pick, and I was kind of really taken back about how much I actually did enjoy it, and then how much like my wife even liked playing it with me, and that was like the Split Fiction. So this was like a review game that we got right as the Switch 2 launched, and there was like a few nights like after we did the review that she like, hey, let's play some more here, and then we would make some more progress, and then just had a lot of fun just enjoying the time playing the game together. So it's very cool co-op kind of thing with two different stories that kind of merge together where you're like space ninjas in one level and then you're like on like a farm or like it's animals in another level. So it's pretty much a lot of juggling back and forth between like a retro like a whatever like knights and castles but and like I fought like space and all that kind of traveling stuff. So we had a lot of fun playing the game together, and it was a nice surprise pick that I put it up here as number 1. So that was Split Fiction.
Nice. Barry, how about you?
You have honorable mentions because, like I said, there's a lot of series that came out this year with releases. Starting with the Ease series, Ease Memoir, The Oath of Falgana came out earlier this year. Great 2D action RPG. You also had Ease versus Trails in the Sky, a fighting game from the PSP that was brought over. Achilles Legends Untold, which I reviewed earlier in the year, just I fell in love with that. It's a Diablo style RPG and just really, really good and runs really well on the Switch. Beyond the Ice Palace 2, I put here. Split Fiction, I put here. No Sleep for Konami Date from the AI, the Somnium Files, the third game, or really 1.5 of the series. The games that Steve and Greg are supposed to be playing, but
Oh,
they're
yeah,
not.
playing all the
Um,
time. All the time.
uh-huh. I put Shadow Labyrinth here because I did enjoy my time with it. I did not enjoy forcing me to do the maze, but I saw there was an update that allows you to like it fixes the controls, so maybe I'll go back and try and finish it. But just a really cool Metroidvania. Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree, another fantastic Metroidvania that I played earlier this year. Just really, really good. I put Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I have not played it yet, but I've heard good things and just want to throw it there. And Shuten Order. Shuten Order is a really interesting 5 games in 1 murder mystery. And what's nice about Shuten Order is it's from the creators of Danganronpa, which I love. I love these style games. In fact, I love these style games so much that one of them made my number 1, which should be no surprise to anyone who listens to the podcast. And that's the 100 line, Last Defense Academy, because my God, this is a once in a generational game. And it is a style of game that I don't even like because I'm not a strategy role playing fan. I do not like SRPGs. And I love this game. This game is just incredible. The story, the scope, it's unlike anything that is out there. There's 101 different endings. There's so many different gameplay styles in terms of story. One story is like a dating simulator, and then you got a death game, and then you've got a slice of life game, and you've got all these crazy things. It's unbelievable they were able to pull this off the way they did. And I even enjoyed the strategy role playing side. Like it was fun, and I understand like at launch some people complained because you had to play every battle and you had to do there's like a board game section where you go exploring. They've patched it so you can skip a lot of that if you really don't want to. It's not a perfect game. There definitely some some paths that you could go without free time. And one of the problems is with all these stories, there are different writers, and some things are introduced even in the final path that are never explained. But it's so ambitious, it's so wonderful. It's got a great cast of characters. That's just if and it's voiced. It's like US voiced as well. It's not just Japanese. And if you enjoy good stories, if you enjoy narrative adventures, if you enjoy something that is the equivalent of probably a 1,000-page novel, I highly, highly recommend this game. It is awesome and took me by
Nice.
surprise.
Cool. Game that I haven't played as well. I've talked about possibly getting. It's like on sale for like 50% off right now. The quote unquote physical edition, and that's NBA 2K26. I've heard really really good things about 26. So yeah, the only reason why I haven't gotten it, honestly, is because of the stupid key card thing. Like I keep looking at it, going, "Do I want to support this or not? Do I want to support this or not?" It's on sale for like half off. I really want to get it for the card because it's not on sale in the eShop, but I really don't want to get a key card. So that's why I haven't gotten it yet. But I've heard really good things about the game. and but anyway, my number one pick that I know came out this time because it was already picked by Greg, and that's Split Fiction. I am far from even like I've just started the game really. I know you guys have played significantly more, beaten it and stuff, but I knew I was going to enjoy this game. I love the idea of the co-op. It just looks fantastic. It looks like, and the idea of having to partner together and take these two stories together, just is really really cool. And I love the fact that they were able to bring it over to Switch 2. So yeah, enjoying it and looking forward to playing it more. But fantastic game. I love how it's action. There's platforming. There's flying. There's all these different components in it, and I'm really excited to play more of it. The only downside is that you have to play it with someone else, or you play it for a little bit and then switch over to another controller, play it for a little bit, which is what I have to do sometimes. But yeah, I think it's a great game and it deserves all the praise that it's gotten. So that's Split Fiction for my number one pick. So ignore the fact that
Steve, I really wish we had lived closer because I feel like that'd be a game me and you can handle pretty good because that's pretty much my kind of experience. My wife would be like, "Hey, you need to do this part for me." And I'm like, "Well, I also need to play
we can play
with
online.
my own controller."
We
Oh, I
could
didn't
play
even realize
online.
that.
Yep, yep. So we'll have to try that sometime. Um, but yeah, other than me picking wrong games, or staying wrong games and games from last year, any other quick thoughts about third party before we move on to first party? Anything, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of my third-party games I did really like were more fell into other categories. That's kind of where it's kind of harder to put them in this one as well too. And even then, some of these might even qualify for like those other ones as well too. So it's kind of hard where to even draw the line on some of them. But um, I do like the games of yesteryear, and it's still great to try to see that there are new ones coming out as well too.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Barry, any thoughts about third party?
It was just there's so many like some years it's just like this is definitely being in my top. And like I thought Trails of Daybreak 2 was going to be number one. I thought Ease Memoir was going to be up there when I played it. I thought a new AI game that's going to go up there, and then Rune Factory took me by surprise, and 100 Line, like I actually like, I'm not even going to play it because of the SRPG, and I had a gap, and I'm like, all right, I love this guy. Let me see what he's got. And he had me in. I did all 101 endings, and that was probably like, I don't know, like 200 something hours.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
when a game grips you like that, it's like, all right, I've got to put this number one there.
absolutely. Yeah, it was surprising when I finally saw you playing something else on your on
I know.
your list. I was like, oh, Barry's not playing the 100 line anymore. So,
Even my wife was like, "Oh, you're finally playing something else." I'm like, "Well, I wasn't really. It was a lot of it's reading." I'm like, "I'm not really playing. I'm reading this whole thing. I'm reading, and
yeah,
it's just a really good story."
yeah. I feel like there's a lot of games like that, and as I was looking to some different stuff, there's a lot of third party games that are just really heavy on reading and or cutscenes or getting gigantic and stuff. And I've realized that I am not a big fan of that. I think I've talked about it on previous episodes too. When games that just take forever to get in the gameplay, I'm like, stop it, just get in. And I think that's what some of these are, like Star Wars Outlaws, get you right in to the game as soon as you start. Split Fiction, you jump pretty close. I mean, there's some cutscenes there, but you can jump in fairly quickly. And I really enjoy that. So yeah, again, like I said at the top of the episode, there's going to be games that some of us are going to really enjoy and others are not going to. So the idea of reading a whole lot on a screen, not going to excite me, but I'm glad that it does for you, Barry. So, all right, well, let's move into our first party games. And again, these are games that were developed and or published by Nintendo. You're going to see a lot of the characters that you know from Nintendo in this list. And so, yeah, these are first party, and we're going to start off, of course, with Greg with third place.
Yeah, so I do have to apologize to Steve. Kind of had this one in the third party category because I took the other developer as the main developer on this one. But my third pick was the Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. So obviously it's Tecmo Koei that does the Warrior series, and that's what it's usually been based on. But yes, it has Zelda stuff, and apparently Nintendo did help do the publishing and developing behind it. So I did see that there as well. Unfortunately, this is going to be one of my Christmas presents, so I actually haven't played this yet, but I'm pretty excited to kind of see the prequel to Tears of the Kingdom in action. So I'm very eager to play this later this month, towards the end of the month. So that was my third pick, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment.
Nice. All right, Barry, on to you for number 3.
The one thing this year that surprises me is I feel like of all the categories, this is going to be the least interesting category for everything, which is sad, but it's Nintendo didn't also put out a lot this year in the grand scheme of things, so it's slim picking. So you're probably going to hear a lot of repeats, which is unfortunate. But my number three was actually a game I just recently came out. I'm was playing it just earlier today still, and that is Kirby Air Riders. Wow, what a game full of content. I'm almost done with all 5 tabs of 150 checklists. That's how big this game is. 750 objectives to do to unlock. That is insane. Just and I know this is one of those games that you either love it or you hate it, and it all comes down to the control because the control is very, very different than anything you would expect. And while it's not perfect, like I would love to be able to put my spin dash to a button as opposed to wiggling my analog stick. Um, it all works. It all works. Even City Trial. I played City Trial in the demo that was out, and I was like, "This sucks. I don't know what's going on. I'm flying everywhere. Like it was like ADHD nightmare." But the game lets you turn down the speed to a slow mode, and I feel like that is great for getting people into it until you get more accustomed. And yeah, wow, what an experience. Just this is Smash Brothers the racing game pretty much, but just with Kirby characters. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. The more and more I saw of this game, it's like, yeah, Sakurai's got a style that he's going for sure. He's locked into that Smash Brothers style and keeps using it over and over. I mean, it's not bad, but it's definitely keeps
Love
showing
it.
up. Yeah. I decided to go with a game that's so let me give this away. I skipped the last version of this game, and really glad that I jumped in this one, and that's Pokemon Legends ZA. Yeah, I skipped Arceus, but really enjoying Legends ZA so far. Again, as I said on previous episodes, I'm taking my time with this, playing little bits at a time. I love the fact that you can do that. That's not just jumping in this huge things and having to set aside a ton of time. I can play little uh, bits of it here and there and feel like I'm progressing. And love the style they went after. Again, this is not brand new for people that have played Legends Arceus, but for me, this is a new style of playing Pokemon. The only thing that I don't like is the fact that throwing a Pokeball is mapped to ZR, and I keep throwing them when I'm not supposed to. That's the only downside of this game I've like figured out so far. But minor
At least you
minor
can get them
complaint.
back.
And can you go pick them up? Because I have not seen. I they just land on the
There's
ground.
an NPC outside of every single Poke Center that will give you all the Pokeballs you throw that are never connect.
Oh,
You can
I
just
didn't
collect
know
them all,
that.
so you actually
Oh,
don't lose them.
I gotta go find them. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So now I don't dislike that as much as I thought I did. So yeah, I really enjoy Pokemon Legends ZA, and it's my number 3 pick. So, Greg, how about you for number 2?
And this also will come to a surprise as I actually didn't play this particular one either, and it's also another one I'll be getting for the Christmas season. But I'm pretty much beyond excited to actually be able to play it. And that was Barry's number 3 pick, the Kirby Air Riders. So the directs really sold me on the game, and I'm really excited to be able to play this also a little bit later this month. And I'm happy to hear that Barry really enjoyed it that much so far. I feel pretty confident that I should have a lot of fun with it once I be able to dive further into it and get a chance to actually play it. I did miss the demo, unfortunately, just due to being busy that weekend, but I still trust my judgment that this game still looks and should be very fun and exciting racing type game. So that's my number 2 pick, Kirby Air Riders.
Nice. All right, Barry, number 2.
Greg and I are just flip flopping because my number 2 is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. I love the Zelda games, and I loved all the other Hyrule Warrior games, and I had to just dive into this. And what a great story! What great action! It flows very well. The combat is awesome. The fuse attacks are great. It just doesn't feel. It feels overwhelming, but it's not overwhelming. Like when you finish a mission, all these new things pop up. You're like, oh my God. But as you tackle it, it is very digestible. You know, you can play it in short little bursts. Just a cool experience. And they just added more missions onto the game for free. So there's new content. Just a lot to love about this game. And it's canon this time as opposed to Age of Calamity, which is awesome. But if you love Zelda, if you love the wild universe, then you should give this one a shot for sure.
Nice. Nice. So I went with number 2. I went with the game that I know is a little controversial, but you know what? I played a lot of it and I really enjoy it, and that's Mario Kart World. It's a fun game. I really enjoyed the direction they've gone a lot with it. It's not perfect. There's never a Mario Kart game that's perfect, but a lot of good things about this game. And I can't. I think the thing that I haven't done yet that I usually do is have some time where I play with like a bunch of people over at our house. So I'm excited about later this month being able to get some time with other people playing it as well. But love what I've played so far, the open world idea and all the different game modes there. Playing online and all that stuff may have its thing or whatever, but honestly, there's tons to play with single player and multiplayer in person that the online doesn't bother me. So yeah, I really enjoy Mario Kart World. So it's my number 2 first party game. So, Greg, on to any honorable mentions and your number 1.
All right, so I pretty much just had one honorable mention this time around, and I did put Mario Kart World in this slot. I usually am a really huge Mario Kart fan, but I guess the negatives that Steve was able to get past, I really couldn't. So I didn't really like a lot of the racing to other races, and didn't feel like you were on tracks. And these races to other races were essentially just like straight line segments, just for item chaos and garbage to kind of happen and change the course of the racing. But without further ado, my number one pick pretty much went to the other main game that came out this year, and that's Donkey Kong Bonanza. So I really enjoyed DK64, and I've been really looking for a game that kind of brought somewhat similar to that, where it's just like a massive collectathon type game and find a bunch of things. And thankfully, the Mario Odyssey team delivered with giving DK a pretty huge 3D platformer style game. So I really enjoyed this one so much. Pretty much went through the full 100% completion, and like I really couldn't stop playing, and I really enjoyed every minute just about after the first few levels, and to get used to everything, and just absolutely loved how it turned out and all the stuff we haven't really spoiled yet. So really like the ending as well, but I'm not going to spoil it here. But that was my number one pick, Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Nice. Barry, how about you for any honorable mentions and your number one?
Yeah, small little honorable mentions list. Mario Kart World, which was already mentioned. I did enjoy it. It just didn't make my top three. And Pokemon Legends ZA, I really enjoyed that too. Completed, everything, even the Pokedex, and just had a blast. But again, it just missed Kirby. Kirby knocked it. It was my number three. And then I also put Kirby and the Forgotten Land Star Crossed World, which was the add-on content to Forgotten Land. I had a lot of fun with it. It's short, sweet, but I didn't want to throw it in there because I did enjoy my time with it. But my number one should be no surprise. It was Mario and Link have a hotel together and run it. Love hotels. No, it's Donkey Kong
Wait,
Bonanza,
that
of
that is an
course.
old game. I know that one.
Yeah, that is an old one. But yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza was fantastic. It was just a great art, open world, platformer. I love DK64. I probably wouldn't love DK64 as much today, but as a kid in high school, I loved it. And yeah, this is just what I was looking for with a 3D platformer. It scratched every itch. I was addicted, and had 100% it and had a blast. I mean, it's awesome. By now, if you're watching this, you probably know enough about this game to make your own decisions. But obviously, we recommend it.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Quick honorable mention for me. Funny enough, it's a game that you guys have already picked as well. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. Yeah, just didn't quite make it on the top three, but I only have one honorable mention, so it's basically a fourth place. So really, really close, and you guys have already said how great of a game it is, so I don't need to spend any more time on it. And surprise, surprise, I also picked Hotel Mario. I mean, Donkey Kong Bonanza is my number one pick, and so funny. Like as I've said on previous episodes, this is a game that, and our game chat as well. This is a game that I was not thrilled about getting in the beginning. It took a while for me to be on board with this, and when I was finally on board was when I played the demo in Walmart. I realized they had a demo available, and I played that demo, and I go, "Oh, this is what it's about." For whatever reason, I wasn't getting sold on the trailers, but actually finally getting my hands on it, I realized, "Oh, this could be really fun," and it was. And probably one of the few games in recent years that I really had, like, I felt like I have to finish this. I didn't get 100% like as you guys, but I completed the main story and everything, and just had to finish that story because I wanted to keep progressing and wanted to beat it. And the only thing that really slowed me down was the desire to break everything. And it really slowed me down in the beginning, and I had to like tell myself, no, stop breaking everything, get back to playing the game, get back to progressing through the storyline. But yeah, such a fun game, and so I don't think it's any surprise that it was across the board number one first party game for all three of us this year. So any final thoughts of the first party stuff, Barry?
just I like the years, like the other two categories we've already done. I like when we pick different stuff. I like when we can come into a category and pull 9 different games out and talk about them, just to show the testament of the diversity of a year. And even with the honorable mentions, there's so many great games. And then you get to Nintendo's offerings this year, and normally they do about a game a month, about 12 games, give or take. They did a lot less this year. Obviously, they launched the Switch 2. I noticed no one mentioned Welcome Tour or Drag Drive, which they did also release. But obviously Metroid Prime 4 is just around the corner. But it just feels like a dry year when there's that. It's like grasping for straws. It's like, well, this is the only thing we have. There was Super Mario Party DLC as well that was
Mm.
added, but no one picked that either. But again, it's I'm really hoping 2026, comes swings hard. Not that it wasn't good, not that these games aren't deserving, because these games are great. There just wasn't a lot of them. I want to see
Right.
more. I'm being greedy.
Right. Yeah. Next year we got Metroid Prime 4, we know already, but we'll see what else. Greg, any thoughts on first party?
Yeah, I thought there was a lot larger focus on like even like the Nintendo Switch 2 editions like this year. So like obviously they're not going to be doing a lot of Switch stuff before the Switch 2 launch, and then even like post launch it was obviously we got like Mario Kart and Donkey Kong right basically right out of the gates, and then now it seems like we've finally got a few other ones in the last like month or two. But um I don't know, I didn't really know where to put a lot of the Nintendo Switch 2 editions because it's basically just like a DLC on a game that was on the Switch. So I didn't really know if we needed a category for that or if those are remakes or however they should be classified. But yeah, it was definitely a lot more slim pickings and definitely agree with what you guys were saying. So I think there was only like 5 different unique games between the three of us, and that could tell
Yeah.
you that it was basically a pretty small list to choose
Mm-hmm.
from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
if it's new content, then it goes in as it's new. If it's a Nintendo Switch 2 edition and it's just an enhancement, then it's a port.
Yeah. Well, speaking of
Like I put the
ports
Kirby DLC.
and remakes, that's where our next category is going to be. So we'll get into some of those in just a second. So again, these are ports and remakes for Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. So these are games that, like Barry said, that have been out for a little bit on other systems, brought over to Switch 1 or 2 this year. And with generally speaking, these are games that are, like we said, just enhancements, remakes, kind of things. If they've, like your Mortal Kombat collection, that's a different thing in my mind, because that's a whole like museum type game that also includes those old games. But the games we're going to be talking about are mostly just kind of enhancing, bringing over, not really big changes in these games. So we'll walk through again, third through first place. And Greg, kick us off with your first one for third place.
All right, so I guess I'll pick this off pretty easily. This game originally released on the 3DS and was one of my favorite RPGs to have played on it. And this is Bravely Default. So it got an HD remake here on the Switch that launched with the Switch 2 that we just came out. And I unfortunately it was on with the key card for some unknown reason, but I absolutely love the original game, and it's definitely an RPG game that needed got some great love and got some nice HD graphics and stuff to enjoy. So that was my third pick is the Bravely Default HD.
Nice. Definitely a beautiful game for sure. Barry, number three.
Number three, I went with I really wanted to go with something that was a true remake and something that I felt did justice to the game it was referring to, or at least in this case, two games, and that's Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remake. I love the original Dragon Quest games. To see them in the HD 2D was fantastic, because Dragon Quest 3 already did it prior. But what I didn't expect was them to add so much extra stuff to the games, and they made both Dragon Quest 1 and 2 significantly better and tell more of a cohesive story. And they actually added stuff back last year with Dragon Quest 3, and they build upon and reference that new additional content. So it really feels like a brand new trilogy, and playing this HD trilogy is actually different than playing the original trilogy, which is really cool. Again, accessibility options are fantastic. If you feel the game's too hard, you can make it so you can't die. You can make it so when you level up, you fill up your HP and MP, or that doesn't happen. I love this where you can customize your own experience, and it does that with both of these games. So just what a great two-pack.
Nice. Another beautiful game. Well, I would consider my choice for number 3 also a beautiful upgrade. And this one is kind of a 2-for-1 because I chose the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom HD, the 4K Switch 2 edition for these games, and two great games that clearly we loved in the past. But now they have Switch 2 editions, and yeah, there's a few things that come with these, so they've also added extra features and things like that too. But the big thing really is that they've been enhanced to 4K and look fantastic. And so, hey, take two fantastic games that are already out and make them look even better. I'm all on board. So yeah, that's my pick for number 3. So,
Right,
Greg,
for
number 2.
my pick, yeah, my pick for number two. Unfortunately, it's pretty much by the same developer that I did for number three, but this one is for Final Fantasy Tactics, the Chronicle series. I didn't really play the original Tactics game. I believe it was GameCube or was it Game Boy Advance? I don't know, don't
PlayStation
remember
1.
specifically. Oh, it was
It
PlayStation
was
1.
PS1.
But essentially, yeah. So I definitely had missed that on PlayStation, but I kind of like the Fire Emblem kind of sequence. So I actually did buy this game. I just haven't even had a chance to fire it up yet. But I do like Final Fantasy, and I love how they have different games represented all in this one, like from across like the Final Fantasy universe. And what better way than to mix some Fire Emblem gameplay in there? And that's probably why I put this at number two, and really excited to hopefully fire this up for the end of the year here. So that's my number two pick, the Final Fantasy Tactics.
Nice. Number 2 for you, Barry.
I kind of alluded to my number 2 earlier, but this was a game that I didn't get to play the original. I have the original on PSP. I just never played it, and the reason I didn't play it is because I found out it was only part one, and there was questions whether part two would come to America. Part two eventually did come to America. It was digital only on the PSP, which obviously sucked. And I never wound up playing it, but I did get into the series later on, and I wound up loving the series. So to be able to play the remake, just blew me away, especially having the knowledge of what I knew, and that is Trails in the Sky first chapter. What a glow up that they did that really pays homage to the original, just in terms of the characters and how they've grown. Seeing them back at the beginning is always a blast, and the best part is there's so many people now getting into the Trail series because this is the first game chronologically. So if you're too daunted, you can get in the beginning. And what a beautiful remake. They use the Daybreak combat system, so you get action RPG and you get turn-based. Just a wonderful cast of characters, a great story, and knowing the future events, there's so many little nuances that it's like, oh, that's cool. The seeds are being planted. And for those that don't know, and you get into this, you're in for a wonderful ride because my God, is this story fantastic. And love seeing this love. I love seeing this attention to it. And if you haven't played it and love JRPGs, you need to do yourself a favor. There's a demo, it carries over, you get the whole prologue. No excuse. Play this game.
I have played it, the demo. And yeah, there's a lot in this demo. I we'll take a moment here and let you know, Barry. I think the game looks fantastic, and I think it's there's clearly hints to like I can tell like if I knew the story, I'd know what they're talking about right now. I don't, but I can tell they're hinting at something for sure. I'm not a fan of the two different styles of combat that are there. It kind of bothers me that you have to you can switch back and forth, and sometimes you have to, and I'm like, just pick one lane and stay in it. So that's
You
just
don't have to.
my
You could
style.
do all action or all turn based. You could absolutely. You don't have to pick.
In at least in the
In the tutorial,
prologue
you do.
demo, it was
In the
forcing me to
tutorial, you
switch.
do only.
Okay.
Yeah, in the
So
tutorial.
so I
It's
because I haven't figured out like there's something there was some I think it was more the magic ones or something like that that I haven't figured out how to do if I'm just in the regular action stuff. Like when there's like bats or whatever flying around because I can't hit them because I miss
yeah.
them every time with my swords. But like so I have to do the magic
Yeah,
attacks and I haven't
you can
figured out how to
cast
do that.
magic outside. You can
Okay.
cast magic and attack, and what you do is you can attack them until you stun them, and then once you stun them, you can go into the turn base and you get an initiative, so you get a bonus attack in the turn base instantly, and a lot of
Yeah.
times that will wipe out enemies for you.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's jarring, I'll say, because it's the first game that I played that has both. Like usually it's one or the other, and so
Yep.
it is jarring. But knowing like Xenoblade also changes up the combat style, and it took me a bit to get into that as well. And so, like, not saying it's bad, but it was jarring for me. But the game itself, I'm with you. Everything that you said is great. It wasn't my number two pick, but but I'll agree with what you're saying though. Um, and for me, this was something I'll say that was chosen earlier in a different category, but I put it in the remakes because it did originally come out in 2020, and that's Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, and yeah. I never thought we would see this game on a Nintendo system. But here we are, and it's on Switch 2, and they put the whole game on the cartridge, and they just need all the praise in the world just for that alone. But just to see this game running well on Switch 2 is just really cool. And this is a game that I honestly, I like speaking like transparent. I have not played myself, but I've watched a ton of gameplay online, watch other people play it, talk about it, and everything. Think it's fantastic. But just being transparent, I haven't played myself, but I'm very familiar with the game enough to definitely put it as number two for remakes and ports on the Switch 1 and 2 for this year. So, Greg, moving on to number one.
All right. Well, I didn't have any honorable mentions this time around, so that was pretty good that we were able to segue right into the number one, like you said. So, right here, I've always really liked the RPG category, and I have this game to really thank for that because it's from the NES, but it was Barry's number three pick, and that was the Dragon Quest One and Two HD 2D remake. So, my first RPG was the original Dragon Quest game, also known as Dragon Warrior here in the US. And pretty much that got me started to go into the second one on the NES, along with the third one, and even like the fourth one I did get on the NES, even though I know that one's very hard to find or was very limited at the time because it was right at the end of the NES life cycle. But as soon as they announced that they were redoing this whole trilogy from the NES onto Switch and Switch 2, that was pretty much an instant buy for all three games, and I absolutely love the Dragon Quest series and very excited to go through the first two games yet again because it's been quite some time since I've got to experience those adventures, and I yeah, I guess that's my number one pick, the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D.
Nice. All right, Barry, any honorable mentions and your number one?
Yeah, a ton because there's a ton of ports and stuff.
So
To
many.
just give honorable mentions. Macro Shooting Insight, we did a review of that. It's a shmup from the that came out a while back, finally came to America. Lunar Remastered Collection. Both Lunar games are fantastic. We won't talk about the third one. But the first two Lunar games are just absolute must-play RPGs, and this was a great collection, great way to experience them. They did a good job bringing them over to the Switch. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. bringing, what a great retro platformer, as in from Retro Studios. But they added in the 3DS stuff, which I got to play because I played the 3DS version, but that's all here too. So it's like the complete version of the game. Great to see it, and a must play if you haven't yet. Sonic X Shadows Generations, the Switch 2 version, because it came out last year. Played it. We did a review for it. It's a fun but janky Sonic game. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S. I love Puyo Puyo and I love Tetris, so why not? I didn't put Yakuza Zero Director's Cut here because I really enjoyed what I played. I have not finished it, but I did enjoy what I played of it. Irem Collection Volume 3, we did a review of that. That was a fun grouping of older shmups. Yukari Playly, what a great remake of Yukari Laylee, and just fixing everything that was wrong with it originally. Bravely Default, as Greg mentioned, got a Switch uh, port. And then I put Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 and Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the Switch 2 editions. I don't need to talk about these games. We all know they're great, and I felt like putting them in my top 3 would kind of be cheating and be a little unfair. So I didn't. But my number one should be no surprise, as it's really tough for me to top a Trails of game. It has to be a special game, or it has to be another series that also tops my list. And that's the case with this one because Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition did come out earlier this year. And boy, what a game. Like, it was fun on the Wii U, but I feel it's so much better on the Switch. They've enhanced it. They've added stuff to it. The added storyline, Chapter 13, I loved where they went. As a Xenoblade fan, it was exactly what I wanted them to do. Um, I would have always taken a little more, but I was happy with what we got, and I really like all eyes are on Xenoblade 4 at this point. But wow, talk about an open world, just an expansive open world with tons to do. Just it's a marvel that this came out in the Wii U because it's just incredible. And if you haven't played it, you're truly missing out on just an experience, just one of those experiences that needs to be had.
Nice. Cool. Moving on to my honorable mentions. I went to I think it's the great like the Mario Galaxy games as well. Resident Evil 7 and 8 coming to Switch 2, fantastic. Love that they're not cloud versions. And then Donkey Kong Country HD Returns HD, fantastic game, looks great as well. Borderlands 4, did that come out this year as well? Over to Switch. I
Borderlands 4
was
came out this year, but I think the Switch version hasn't it was like delayed
was delayed.
indefinitely.
Okay.
Never
So
actually
just
launched.
some of these games I haven't played Borderlands 4, clearly because it hasn't come out yet, but
But
I saw
Borderlands
it.
4 came out this year regularly though.
It did. Okay. But yeah, Street Fighter 6, I kind of as a port remake, depends on what you want to look at. Is that a third party or as a port? But played the demo of that recently.
Sure.
Hogwarts Legacy, Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake, as you guys talked about. I'll now move Yuka Replay over to this category now where it actually belongs. Mention it again. But as I think Barry was hoping I was going to put Trails in the Sky first chapter probably in this. I'll put it in honorable mentions instead. And that brings me to a game that hopefully will also excite Barry, and that's Xenoblade Chronicles X. I haven't played the Switch version, but I played the Wii U version, haven't beaten it yet, but played a lot of it and know that it's a fantastic game. So once I saw trailers and stuff of what it looks like and the enhancements and everything that they brought to the Switch version, I know that that it has to be fantastic. And hearing Barry rave about it surprises me little. But yeah, it's already a great game. Why wouldn't an enhancement make it even better and extra stuff like an extra chapter and things like that too? So Barry's already raved all about this game. I don't have to say anymore. If you're even the least bit interested, get the Switch version. The only reason I haven't done it yet is because I still haven't even beaten the Wii U version, and so I'm just going to go back and then play that eventually, and then we'll see if I get the Switch version. But love the fact that this looks beautiful and they're adding extra stuff. So there you go, Barry.
People
Xenoblade number
need
one.
to get Yes. People need to get the Switch version because it didn't sell as well, and that's really a crying shame because they did a wonderful job and it is an amazing game and people are sleeping on it, sadly.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think I
yeah,
also
they're gonna.
think Steve should probably go with the Switch version because the Wii U is not going to be safe if you don't power it on every few years. So if you don't make
I
any
power it on
progress
every few
towards it at
years,
some point,
and no joke. Like here, actually, if you're watching in the video version, and there it is. It's sitting right next
Yeah.
to my Wii U because this is the game that I plan on playing every time I boot up my Wii U, and it just sits there. But I do boot it up every once in a while, and I do intend to play it. The problem is my Wii U controllers are not charged, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I gotta wait till I charge them, and then I find something else to do. So that's my journey with getting back into XenoX. It's lots of good intentions and no follow through. But yeah, love the fact that it's on there. Greg, any thoughts about just remakes and ports to the Switch 1 and 2 this year?
yeah, there was definitely quite a lot. I feel that we're here and well represented, and I'm kind of surprised I missed some of like the easy ones, like the Switch 2 editions. But as I said earlier, I wasn't quite sure which category those fit best in because, like, are they a remake or a port or not really? Is it still considered like a best Nintendo game or third party game based on which company remade it? And it's I don't know. You can either
It
easily make the
depends on if
case
there's new
for either
like if they
category.
add
Yeah,
new stuff.
Yeah,
yeah.
it gets a little hairy.
So it's Yeah, because it's kind of tricky because I don't know. I don't feel like rating like a game like super high up if it just got like a little bit of DLC. I mean, I understand the DLC is new, but the base game hadn't really changed a lot, and it's kind of just
Hmm.
like a re-release
You have
of
to
the
rate the
original
DLC
game.
then.
But
Yeah. Um,
we don't have a DLC category. But
we can throw it all in the same one like the Game Awards does. Barry, any
Yeah.
thoughts on the remakes and ports this year?
You know what? There's so many great ones and great collections, and I love it because it's harder and harder to play some of these older games. So to be able to just play them all on modern platforms is amazing. And I stand by the fact that like right now the Switch 2 has the best library like of all time. Only because it plays all the Switch 1 games pretty much, and then the Switch 2 going forward. Like that's just an incredible library. And the same could be said, for PS5 and Series X. I think they all have really incredible libraries because a lot of these games, it's just more the more older games that we can get on modern platforms, the better,
Yep.
because that way newer generations can experience these classics.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I mean, there's so many games that can be played on Switch 2. From all the Switch games to all these games that are now being able to be ported over from Xbox, PC, PlayStation that we couldn't play before. It's a really fun time to be a Switch 2 owner, especially. Um, so yeah, it's really exciting. Before we move into that other category that's non Nintendo, I forgot, Barry. Was there any other picks that we've not been talking about from our Discord
Oh
community?
yeah. Let's see. For Nintendo, Dave put Donkey Kong Bonanza and Kirby Air Riders. And then the rest of them are non-Nintendo picks. So
All
that'll go
right,
next category.
cool. So I didn't really miss a whole lot then. Good. So yeah, let's move into our non-Switch, non-Nintendo category. So just a heads up, these probably apart from Barry, because Barry has all these consoles and has played them. Greg and I have an Xbox, but I really don't play it a whole lot. I have a PC, I don't play it a whole lot. So some of these games are actually, I'll say, for my list, every one of my games is a game that I've not played yet, but it looks cool, and I wish I could play it on Switch. And so that's kind of what falls in this category. If we played a lot of non-Nintendo Switch games, then that will fall into these categories of our picks. But also these could be games that I wish were on Switch so I could play them, sort of category as well. So
Maybe they
this
will.
includes, and maybe they will. So this is mobile, PC, Switch, or not Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, anything else. VR technically falls in there as well.
VR
Any
VR falls in there. Like Chromatic if you want, or Evercade if you
Sure,
want.
yeah, all that kind of stuff. So anything that's not on a Nintendo console, we'll say, and which really means for the 2025 year, that's not on Switch 1 or 2. And so that's what this category is all about. So let's kick it off, Greg, with your number 3 pick.
See if anyone catches the little theme that I have going on with mine, but we'll start off with number three. I put as the Clear Obscure Expedition 33. So you probably heard the last podcast. We said that name probably like 18,000 times, no less. Not really kidding there, but yeah, it's kind of looks pretty cool and pretty much as with like Academy Awards style games. I try to play some of the I would like to be able to play some of the games that are nominated for numerous categories. So I guess yeah, if it ever were to come to Switch 2 or a future Nintendo platform, it might be something I would check out at that time. So that was my third pick, Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Nice. Barry, number 3.
Yeah, this is actually a smaller category even for me, just because either so many of the games wound up on Switch, or I just haven't played my other platforms as much because there's been so much on Switch, and the fact that my son constantly closes my cabinet where my PlayStation and Xbox are, so that's like a fight. So I'm like, "All right, I'll just play Switch and be easier." But my number three goes to Dragon is Dead. This is a action RPG roguelike from Team Sunny, and it is on Steam right now, but it is coming to consoles, and it is incredible. It's 2D action. Go from level to level, killing all the enemies, getting loot, dying, coming back, getting stronger, using powering up, rinse and repeat until you eventually beat the game. But when you beat the game, it's one of those where you didn't beat the game because there's more to the story. So now you get higher level equipment, higher level, weapons, higher level enemies to face, and constantly doing side quests and stories. And the art is all like gothic art. It's just really, really cool looking. And I can't wait for console gamers to be able to play this as well because this is something really special.
Nice. Nice. It's surprising, Barry. We're talking a lot about roguelites. What is this? have we turned a page?
I still only like particular one, but I mean this is
Yeah.
a game that became very near and dear to my heart because I work with the dev team as well. No full disclosure, but I did did work with this game, and it is fantastic, and I've had a great time playing it, and I can't wait. Like I said, for you, I think you'll like this one too, Steve, since
Okay.
you like these others.
Okay. Cool. Well, I went with my number 3 pick is a game that I heard very little about, I think, in the beginning. But then as I was looking through, just getting ready for this episode, I came across this game that I would really like to play, and I may need to track it down, and maybe get it on Steam or something, or maybe Xbox, because it's a game that is very kind of mystery puzzle game, called Blueprints. And it's getting rave reviews all across the board, and I think it seems like, yeah, that there's this mystery, there's puzzles, like you're solving puzzles, but it's like on this adventure sort of thing, and I'm like, man, this seems like a game that could really pull me in way more than I really have time for. But it kind of reminds me a little bit, not exactly the same, but of some of the DS games. Blanking on the names of it right now, where you're on this all the puzzles and stuff like that. Layton
Professor
reminds me a
Layton.
little bit of Layton, but just because of the mystery and the puzzles itself, but it's different styles. Of course, it's not like Layton style puzzles. But yeah, looks really interesting, and be cool if it could come out on a Nintendo system. But I've got an Xbox Series S and I've got a PC. I may end up getting it.
Well, if you get a PS5, you can get the physical that we worked with I am 8-bit on.
Well, if someone want to buy me a PS5, that'd be great. I know they're on sale right now, or they were. I don't know. All right, Greg, number 2.
Yeah, my number two pick is another game that might have sound familiar from the number of times we said it last episode, and that's Ghost of Yotoi. So pretty much I was kind of going through watching some trailers of these highly nominated games, and I put this one in the second slot. It's a bit more interesting than my third pick. So I put this one here for number two because it just seemed like it could be a pretty decent fun game to play and one that I look forward to. Hopefully, that they can get over onto the Nintendo ecosystem at some point. But yeah, that's my number two pick, the Ghost of Yotoi.
All right,
And
Barry,
good
number
luck with
2.
Sony on that one.
Yeah,
So
they're not Xbox.
that one's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
PC maybe, but I mean maybe I'd love to see it. So my number two is a game that prop could potentially have been my number one if people didn't oversell it to me and they just kept overselling it and they kept saying, "Oh, it's the greatest game in the world," and "Oh my God, you got to experience it. This is incredible," and it is incredible, but it's not the greatest game in the world, and it doesn't even have the best story released this year, and that's Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which I played through. I loved the combat. I got so good at parrying. It's like Mario and Luigi style combat. The story is intriguing. The world is really, really cool. The characters are fun. It is a little bit on rails, like the worlds, like the areas you explore are very linear. That's a very thing, like it seems to be a common thing with more modern games. A lot of scripted stuff, a la Uncharted. There's no mini map. I would kill for a little mini map, but I had honestly a blast through the whole thing. I saw a lot of the twists coming, which was unfortunate, and that's probably because I play a lot of these games, so I could read the little nuances. And I wish people didn't overhype it because I would have probably enjoyed it more because I was still waiting for the other shoe to drop. But yeah, it's just a great game. You have to be good though. You can't be like, I'm gonna be passive and play this game. You've gotta parry, you've gotta dodge, or you will die. The game will kill you. And once you get good at that, you feel a lot better. And there's ways to circumvent if you mess up, but you will memorize enemy patterns by the end of it. And it is a great game, and I do highly recommend it.
Nice. Nice. We're just going to keep this trailer going because it's also my number 2 pick. And yeah, I think for the same, like I've not played it, but now, hearing Barry talk about it and other people talk about it, clearly it's a great game. But I think there are those things that you mentioned that I think would probably bother me here and there. So that's why I didn't move it up to my number 1 pick. I think there's aspects to it that I'm like, oh yeah, that would probably that's not first place worthy in my mind, but it still seems like a fantastic game, and this was made by a small team, right? Like this
Yep,
is like
their first game.
very first game, which is like just thinking about that is just remarkable. I get blown away when I think that the small team first game. That's ridiculous. So great job. That's my number 2 pick. Oh, Greg, any
That's
honorable mentions for your number 1 pick?
No, unfortunately, I kind of flew through this category because I already noticed the trend that I was following, but I didn't really list anything here. And pretty much just to kind of piggyback on to that discussion you were just had there, that's also why I had it as number three, because I'm not a very defensive style player. So this is something that's beat Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom without using the Fury mode and like those defensive perfect shield techniques. It's a lot harder that way, but that's the way I had played those two games. So I'm not really one to parry and defense and counter style combat. So it's why I had it mine at three. But in terms of my number one, this is actually Steve's number three pick. It was Blueprint. So this one looked the most exciting to me of the three that were up for some of the awards in the upcoming game awards in a week or two. So, as Steve said, it's a great exploration style game, and it was pretty much the one that had me the most excited and the one I would want most on a Nintendo platform. So, I do kind of enjoy some of these adventure kind of puzzle style games, and I was really hoping to hopefully we'll get an announcement that'll be coming on over at some point, but guess you never really know, and might be like Steve and just saying, "Hey, I'll just might have to just get on PC if I can't wait that long." So, yeah, that was my number one pick was Blueprints.
Nice. Right. Barry, on to you for honorable mention. It's a number one.
I only have one honorable mention, and that is Kong Survival Instinct. I love the MonsterVerse universe. I love Godzilla. I love King Kong. I always have as a kid to an adult. So to see a cool tie-in into that universe, at least the go ongoing American universe, was really cool. And it's also a special game for me because it was actually the very first ESRB game that I wound up doing.
Mm.
It's not coming to Switch, unfortunately. It's going to the PlayStation. And yeah, it's just a fun Metroidvania style action game in that universe, and I do highly recommend it. It was a blast, and it was great when I did Level Up Expo. I actually got to show it off to a lot of people who had never seen it before, which was really fun to demo a game that I helped in some way get out there. But my number one was Greg's number two, which is Ghosts of Yotei. I loved Ghost of Tsushima. It was a real surprise to me how much I enjoyed the samurai action adventure. In fact, last year, Rise of the Ronin, which was another PlayStation game, but it was I think that was Koei Tecmo did that one. Um, was up in my top three. In fact, I think it was my top for non-Nintendo Game of the Year. So there's a trend. I just really enjoy open world samurai style games, and this is no exception. Different weapons that you could switch to on the fly. It becomes like a rock paper scissors. The world is fun. I intended to play it going point A to point B, but just to get through the story because I really wanted to see the story. And I wound up completing the map because I was like, oh, I need to go over here, and oh, there's something here, and oh, there's a jumping puzzle here, and oh, there's a fox den over here, and suddenly I'm doing like stealth missions and switching armor and doing dies, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm just really getting into this world, and it is great. And there's a little throwback to Ghost of Tsushima in there that I wasn't expecting, but when I did it, it was just like extra special because I think this is like 100 years or so, or maybe a little more in the future. But yeah, it's an awesome, awesome experience. If you love samurai stories, if you love feudal Japan, and you love open world like Breath of the Wild style game, you're doing yourself a disservice by not playing it. It is really, really good.
Nice. Well, I also did not have any honorable mentions like Greg, but we're just gonna let this trailer roll because number one for me is also Ghost of Yotai. Just love the concept more. The more I see that this game, I'm like, yes, that's a game I could get behind. I could see myself playing. I don't have a PS5. Hint, hint. If anybody wants to buy me one, but yeah,
Yeah,
if I did,
yeah,
this
we're
would
already
be
sending out PS5s.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, this game looks so good. Like you said, it like this open world samurai action game. Like I could definitely get behind this. And for me, like talking game awards, like this one should have gotten nominated more than Claire Obscure because this is the type of the thing that I think I could get behind a lot more because the style and just it looks beautiful. It's unreal. Unreal 5, right? So I mean, everything is probably going to be looking beautiful in that engine, but yeah, just really good looking game, and think that I would probably really really enjoy it. But yeah, haven't played it yet because I don't have a PlayStation 5. So we'll see. Uh,
You
any
know, maybe if you did the assignment of, maybe beating AI, it's the time of year, maybe something could have happened, but you
yeah.
failed me. You failed
I
me.
I seriously doubt anybody's going to buy me a PS5. So
Hey, hey, I gave you an
Right.
easy assignment,
you
so
did, you
you
did.
failed that.
I
You failed it. There could have been a prize at the end of that. You
I,
don't know.
I played enough of AI to say that I would enjoy Ghost of Yotai a lot more than AI.
Well, but you didn't finish it. You don't know that. You didn't finish it.
I played enough of it to know.
You didn't. Trust me. You didn't play enough.
You'd still
I
say that until
assure
I
you,
beat the
you didn't
game.
play enough. No, I'm not. You don't know that. You know
See, I
what
think you're
though?
just
I
kind of
will say
going that
this:
over our heads, though.
in an alternate timeline,
Yeah.
alternate dimension, there is a Steve that did beat AI, and that Steve might be playing a PS5 right now. I'm just saying. You don't
Well,
know.
that Steve would also have problems because there's already way too many games to play. It's better that I don't have a
I
PS5.
know. Pour one out for that poor Steve.
I know. It's oh man. That Steve also might be 700 pounds because he may just sit on his butt and play video games all the time. Yeah. I think we've said a lot about like the fact that there were a lot of games that moved over to Switch this year, which made this list a lot smaller. um and any from our Discord community? I think you said that a lot of
Yeah,
them
we
mentioned
do. Dave
non-Switch games.
said pirate. Yeah, Dave said Pirate Yakuza, and Roth said Peak and Karma the Dark World.
Hmm. All right. All right. I don't know anything about either of those games, but also probably won't play them. But that's cool.
Well, you know about Yakuza.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't like Zero, so but oh well. Let's move on now to a very fun category that we won't spend a ton of time in because we want to keep this podcast moving on, but we've got to at least pause for our worst game of the year that we played. So again, all the rest of this categories, there sometimes they can creep in, and we have some games that we haven't played yet, but we know based on video game play, like gameplays and different things like that, that we know we would like this game, and we went ahead and ranked it based on those kind of things. But this is a category of this is based on the actual games we have played. So worst games of the year. So these are on Switch 1 and 2. So we're going back to our main consoles here that we're going to be talking about. And Greg, um, you have an interesting pick for your number 3, I see.
Yeah, and surprisingly, there was only three games that I didn't really enjoy this time around, but after further research, the one did not qualify to make the actual list, so I had to push that as an honorable mention instead. So I actually did not have a number three pick due to that technicality.
Mm. Glad you caught that instead of just announcing a game that's from a previous year like I did. So. All right, Barry, number 3.
This was an interesting year for worst game. Um, there were there was really there was three categories for worst game for me. There was legit worst game. There was games so bad that I really couldn't play it, but I put those notable mentions because I just felt I didn't play enough to put them as bad, but they're bad. And then there are games that are disappointing. And to start off, we're going with disappointing. And that was Treasure Hunter Simulator. It's not that this game is bad. It's just boring and it's tedious and it's just exactly what you would think, just clunky. You're walking around until you find a beep, and then you walk around and things beeping and vibrating, and you're like you're standing on it, but you got to be on the right pixel for it to exactly work. Just to find a bottle cap that's trash. Like, oh my god. Like it lets you explore all these different areas, but you're very limited in these little paths, and it feels very scripted, and it feels like it wants to do more. And it's not that it's a bad game. If this is your calling and you absolutely love going to the beach with a metal detector, you might say this is your game of the year. But it's just disappointing because I felt maybe you could do more. Maybe like you see a path, maybe you could go off into the woods. No, you're on that path. Enjoy it. So you don't have the full free reign. So I put that as my number 3.
All right. All right. Like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in you. Just disappointed in
Yes,
you, Treasure Hunter.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I could say something similar about my number 3. And it's funny, Barry, because you mentioned there's a game that wasn't mentioned earlier. It's because it's in my worst games, and that's Twitch 2 Welcome Tour. Man,
Ah,
I wasted my time playing this game and my money. And I don't know why. I went ahead and bought it. It was dumb. It was dumb. I shouldn't have done it, but I wasted a lot of time, wasted my money. I could have been saving up for a PS5, but I didn't. And yeah, I learned some things. This game should have been a pack in. That makes it even worse in my opinion. Like they should have packed this thing in. It was I learned a little bit, but I could have just as easily have learned those things in a written document that Nintendo put out. Like it was dumb. So yeah, and some of the built-in games or puzzles you had to do were just annoying. So yeah, I beat it. I beat the Welcome Tour, but I'm still also disappointed. So
what if it
that's my
was
number
5
3.
bucks? Would it be
I'd
there still
still
if it was
be
only 5 bucks instead of
disappointed.
10?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it should have been a pack in. If it was packed in,
It should have been a packet.
wouldn't have made my list. But the fact that I had to spend any money on it at all, number 3. All right,
See, and I think,
Greg.
and that's if I had put my money where my mouth was, that I'm sure I was going to put that one there as well too. But I resisted the temptation and do the motto "vote with your wallet" type thing. So I did not support that kind of practice when it should have been a pack-in style game. So um,
Lucky.
I'm sure that one probably wouldn't made my list. So on to number 2. Um, this is another crossover game that was mentioned in a different category, and it's probably at least turned one head that's on here, and that is a Pep Wizard 2. So basically, it's like an auto simulator style game, and I don't know. I understand that a lot of people do like the offline grinding modes and stuff, but I wasn't really for me, and essentially don't really play the game. The game just plays itself when it's not turned on. So I don't know. I feel like I enjoy playing games. I don't really want to just log in and collect stuff. I usually like to actually sit down and try to play the game. So that was my number 2 pick was Tap Wizard 2.
I love you're like, usually I like playing games. Yeah. I think the funny thing about that game is that you and I had no idea what it was actually doing. We're like, why can't I do anything? And Barry's like, you guys realize what this game is, right? I'm like, no, we have no idea. And now we know, we still don't like it. All right, Barry number 2.
My number 2 also falls into the disappointing category, and I think it's because the trailer looks a lot better than the actual game itself, and the game itself is very limiting, and that is Rally Arcade Classics. There's really like 4 different styles of game you can play. The races are really you just in fourth place, and you just have to beat the scripted cars and get past them. It all feels very the samey. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't control well. there are so many good racing games released in this year. There are so many good rally games on the Switch as well. This I had high hopes for. I heard from people like, "Oh, this is going to be a good game." I was excited when you got codes for us to review it, Steve, because it was actually on my wish list. I had planned to buy this
Hmm.
game. I'm really glad I didn't because yeah, this game disappointed me. It's not unplayable, but it's just disappointing.
Yep. Yep. And that's why it's also my number two. Yeah, I am with you. Like we talk about this in our game chat, but it's yeah, it's like how many times can you redo the same thing over and over and over again? And also it doesn't do rally well. Like I've played other games that are significantly better, and I'm not a huge rally racing fan because it's different than your standard racing games. But knowing that it could be so much better, and it's like a copy paste thing, and it's just yeah, it could be so much better. And this it basically just kind of became boring. It was the same thing over and over and over again. Catch up, get into first place, cool, move on. So yeah, not very fun.
To be fair, the PC and the PlayStation, Xbox versions may be fantastic. It might just be the Switch version that's terrible, but that's what we played
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the game does not look nearly as good as those trailers.
Hmm. Yeah, and there has been an update. I can't remember if that came before or after we played it and reviewed it,
During
but during, but it's still it didn't help. Like so, yeah, it's not fun. There's better games. There's better racing games. There's better rally games. All right. Well, that finishes the second place. So we're going to move on to Greg, and we have, instead of honorable mentions, we have dishonorable mentions for this category, and then move on to your first place pick.
Yeah, so this, unfortunately, my dishonorable mention probably would have been my number one in this category, with the other ones being all pushed down one. It was a game that we reviewed right in December, I guess technically last year, but it fits this review cycle, and that's the Bright Lights over Sevlov. So that was a very clunky and slow, like, adventure game, and there wasn't really a whole lot to it, and it was often kind of confusing, and it seemed like some things were not working as intended. But the actual number one pick that I did put this time around was Stunt Flyer. So um, I guess it's like a Pilot Wings S style game, but it didn't really hit the mark for me. It was just a lot of flying through circles and finding things, and there was supposedly like unlockable characters and other things that I tried to figure out how to unlock, but I never ended up really unlocking anything really. So I don't know how, even though I like found a lot of the things and completed objectives, but yeah, that was pretty much my most disappointed game that I played this over the last year was a Stunt Flyer.
Mm, nice. Barry, how about you?
Stunt Flyer just missed my dishonorable mentions. It was slightly better than the other picks. So I give it the it just doesn't mention stack. So my dishonorable mentions, another game that just fell into the disappointment was Mad Skills BMX 2. It was a fun concept, but the mobile origin just shined way too brightly, and you hit that paywall, and I'm like, I shouldn't be dealing with this on a Switch game. So it just left a bad taste in my mouth. Then two games that fall into the so bad I couldn't even get started and I didn't want to continue from that point are Carrier Deck, which is an aircraft simulator, and it's just bad. And The Order of the Snake Scale, which is like a 3D action adventure style game that I think I threw up in my mouth after walking 3 times or 3 steps. It's just bad. I couldn't even tell you. It was dark and grainy and just I was just so turned off. I literally turned the game off after like a minute. I'm just like, nope, this is bad. Bad, bad, bad. But I didn't play enough of them to put them in my top three. So that's why they're not there. I need to be honest about that. I also had a dishonorable mention that has been removed, but we talked about it in our game chat for Boulder Dash 40th anniversary, which was just a real disappointment because I was very much looking forward to that. And the biggest complaint we had was that you couldn't move with the D-pad, you could only move with the analog stick, and you moved incredibly quickly like lightning. There has been an update to the game where now you move much slower with the analog stick and you can use the D-pad to move, which changes everything. That's the biggest complaint. That is the biggest complaint because the game is jam-packed with puzzles from the whole history of Boulder Dash and a lot of great stuff. But that was the one thing because when you couldn't play it, you couldn't enjoy those puzzles. They have since fixed that, so I'm removing it, but I'm mentioning it here that it was here, but I'm also mentioning the update because they fixed it, and thank you for that. Now, as for my worst game of the year, this falls into the offensive category. This falls into the category where somebody has some big cojones to charge $10 for this giant piece of, and that is truck driving. Because my God, is this game terrible. This game is the type of game where if you were a high school student and you made this for your class project, I would shake your hands and say you did a great job. If you then took this and charged $10 in the eShop or only $5 during the Black Friday sale, then you get punched in the face because this is not a game. This is a tech demo. The key art lies, the description on the Nintendo eShop page lies. The game gives you enough currency to buy five different trucks, but there's only two or three trucks to buy. So they give you extra currency that's never done anything. It's broken. It's 50 levels, but it's really only 25 levels because you play the same 25 levels again, but it's nighttime. This is offensively bad. It controls okay. It is playable, but it blatantly lies to you, has the balls to charge you. Look, I would have rather bought Welcome Tour than this. And that was also $10, okay? This is just bad. Only play this if you're morbidly curious and you have $10 that you hate. And you have to hate. And if you really hate it that much, you could send it my way and I will play truck driving again so that you don't have to, but I'll take the $10. It's bad, bad. Stay away. This should never have been there. This should be an 88-cent game, and it wouldn't even make my list. But it's not. It's $10, and they lie to you blatantly on the eShop, and that should be illegal.
That was one of my favorite game chats or reviews for me to record and edit. It was fun. And I'm glad
Glad you
that
enjoyed that.
Barry saved me a lot of time because there's a few games, truck driving, one of them that I also got a code for. I'm glad you played it. I'm glad you told me it was bad. Mad Skills, BMX2, also one of those, in Carrier Deck. Like you took the bullet for those, so I appreciate that. In terms of my dishonorable mentions, I also had Boulder Dash 40th anniversary on there, but glad to hear that there's an update. So that's really exciting. I also put on there a portion of a game, Which Way Up Galaxy Games, the single player portion of that game is just not fun. Like it's bad. Multiplayer, Barry and I had a great time playing, but single player, yeah, just avoid that part. I also put Tap Wizard 2 as a dishonorable mention as well. And there's another game that was mentioned earlier by you, Barry, that you're like, oh, I wonder why it wasn't on the list anywhere. Dragon Drive. Why? The game speaks for itself. And then I also put another game on there that I didn't play, but I just thought it'd be. I still don't understand why the game exists. A little bit of a dishonorable mention. That's Chilling by the Fire on Switch 2. Like, what? Why does that game even exist? It looks horrible, and it's a Switch 2 game. Like, who let that slip by? That's what I want to know. They have tightened up so much quality assurance on the Switch 2. Who let Chillin' by the Fire slip by? That's what I want to know, because it looks like a
Well, I want to
N64
know,
game.
Steve, are you more upset that it exists or that it got so much coverage in a Nintendo Direct?
Both. Both. But when it comes to my Worst game of the year. I am gonna have to agree with Greg. Stunt Flyer was a waste of my time. And Greg, we forgot that you actually got to the second level. I didn't even know there was a second level. Figure out how to get to my second level. I feel like I collected everything I needed to in the first level, and I still couldn't even get past it. Wasted a lot of my time. The shooting in this game is awful, and trying to navigate everything, it's horrible. Like, play a different game. Like, it was a waste of time in this thing. And I think the worst was the shooting down the balloons, because like trying to shoot those balloons were ridiculous. And then to reload, you have to drive down by the water. What is that? What, that doesn't even make sense. Are you getting like bullets from the fish? What is that? So
It was
who
water
made that
balloons.
decision? It
You were
was
shooting
dumb.
water
Yeah, there were
balloons.
water cannons, I thought. But
It's still dumb. You're not gonna
What about
fill
where you had to
those things
water the
up as you're flying.
crops?
You're like, oh,
That
I'm
was
gonna let go of the. I'm just gonna dip my balloon in the water as I'm driving by. I'm gonna fill it up, tie it, and then shoot it. Yeah, this is dumb. So don't waste your time.
yeah.
Don't waste your time on Stunt Flyer.
I hated the watering crops mission. That was so
Oh, the
bad.
watering crops. That was the worst. Like trying to aim that. Oh, that was awful. Awful. So we want to know what games you have hated this year as well. So let us know. I think overall there have been worse years. I think, in terms of worst games for sure. But we did play our fair share of some bad games this year. Well, the time has come for us to move into our final category, and that is the game of the year. This is the one category that we will not have any honorable mentions. Any of the honorable mentions we'll just say are all the games that we have talked about up until this point. So all of those are honorable mentions for the game of the year. So we'll just go through third, second, and first. And this is back again to our Switch 1 and 2 categories. We're not going to be including non-Switch games in this category. So when it comes to the best games that we have played this year, the ones that I think we'd all agree are top notch games, but also that we really really enjoyed a lot. That's the what's going to be finding their way into our first, second, and third of the game of the year. And then, as we said earlier, as we after we get done with that, I've tabulated up all the different numbers and given them points and everything. So if you want to do some math ahead of time, every third place pick gets 1 point. Every second place pick gets 2 points, and every first place pick gets 3 points. And we'll tabulate that all up to give you our number 1, 2, and 3 of our collective best games for this year for Switch 1 and 2. So without further delay, let's kick it over to Greg with your number 3 game for Game of the Year.
yeah, it might turn some heads here, but it's actually one of the ones from the port and remake section, and I chose Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D. So as I said when I first talked about it, that was my intro to RPGs, and I have the original Dragon Warrior games to thank for that. And I was very happy to see that they were released this year on Nintendo Switch. So and Switch 2. So yeah, that was why I pulled it all the way up here to number three, because I actually love the RPG genre as a whole, and I have the original NES games to thank for it. So that was why we'll get to watch an awesome trailer yet again.
Nice. Beautiful game. Well, let's move on to Barry for your number 3 pick.
Number 3 for me, just a game I had a ton of fun with, but it didn't top higher than 3, and that was Donkey Kong Bonanza, which may come as a surprise to some because how it just topped our Nintendo category completely. And I had a blast with it, but I didn't have the most fun this year overall. Only the third most fun overall, which is still very high, and it's still an amazing game. And I'm curious where it places for everyone else, and if it tops your guys' list, but it's only number 3 for me.
Nice. Well, number 3 for me is a game that I was so excited that we get to play on Switch 2, coming over from other systems. And I'm excited to play more and more of it. The little bit that I played is fantastic. And Greg, hopefully we can maybe even finish the game together, and that's Split Fiction. Um, yeah, love the concept of this game, love the action, love the platforming and flying, just all the different types of adventure that are in this game. And yeah, love that we get it on a Nintendo console because, a few years ago, this kind of a thing wouldn't be happening. And the fact that we get to play it. And so, Greg, hoping let's play some Split Fiction online and we can finish this up. Oh, well, number
Sounds like a plan.
two. Number two's next. Let's move on back to you, Greg, and you can tell us about your second place pick for Game of the Year.
Well, I guess it's time to continue the train going forward and give this game its our second mention. So my number 2 pick was the Donkey Kong Bonanza. So um, in my eyes, it's a real, true launch game for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I had so much fun playing that one all the way from start to completion. So yeah, my number 2 pick was the incredible Donkey Kong Bonanza. I almost added country in there, even though it's almost like a country game, but it's not quite. So it's just Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Nice. All right. Barry, on to second place.
Second place, some more Nintendo love with Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. It's just a behemoth of a game. The added extra, content just was the cherry on top. And as anyone who's played the Xenoblade games will definitely appreciate that last little bit. Just so many cool connections, and Xenoblade X is always the black sheep of the series, and may not be going forward because of this. And I love it, and the scales are just great, and just what an experience! Play this game.
All right. Well, number 2 for me is a game that, of course, I mentioned earlier. And this one is something that came out of nowhere. And that's Ball Pit. It's a game that I didn't think I was going to enjoy at all. Ignored it in the beginning, and and as Barry alluded to earlier, I've already sank quite a bit of hours into it, and I've only been playing it for like a week or so. So it's not like the thousands of hours that you put into some of your games, but a lot more time than I expected to be putting into this game, and especially because it's a roguelike. That's crazy that I am enjoying it that much, but having a lot of fun with Ball Pit, and that's why it is my number 2 pick. So, time to move into number 1. What do you think, Greg?
All right, so this time it was time to give some more indies some love this year. So it looks like they were able to topple some of our Nintendo hitters because mine is the Hollow Knight Silk Song. Um, it was pretty much my most anticipated game for this year, and we actually did end up getting it, and I'm so happy that we did. I had so much fun playing what I've done so far, and still can't wait to go back and finish it up. So yeah, that was my number 1 pick was the Hollow Knight Silk Song.
All right. All right. Barry, number 1.
My number 1, I think it's time that everybody needs to go back to school, because it's time to go back to Last Defense Academy. 100 line just did it. It did it. It took over. It just did something that is once in a generational. Everyone who has experienced it will tell you that it is something so fantastic and so unique and just incredible. And it's just, if you love strategy role playing games, if you love stories, if you love things that will keep you on your toes, if you love sci-fi, just you have to try this game. It is something incredible. And, it's unlike anything else. So please play this game, experience this adventure.
Nice. I was trying not to give it away earlier. I mean, I was like, "Oh, thousands of hours into." Well, I'm not gonna mention that game because it's Barry's first place pick. But yeah, not thousands of hours. How many hours did you put into that game?
It was over 200 hours
Over
I put into
200.
that game.
That's crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, the fact that it's got that much gameplay is ridiculous. Because I mean, like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom were long games as well. I mean, we put over 100 hours in those games too. But is this more than that?
This is more than that, yeah. But
Wow.
it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of reading and exploration, and it depends how you choose to spend your days because you get free time. But yeah, it's quite the story. And whenever there's a choose your own adventure style, like the biggest downfall of the game is that you have to relive 100 days over and over and over again. But each path takes it to a completely different genre of game, which I was not expecting. I was expecting day 22 was going to be the same day 22. Well, no. Like I said, there could be a death game happening, and now you're wondering who's going to survive or who's trying to kill you. Zombies could be out there. It could be a love game, and everyone's trying to like get with each other. It could be, you know, different invaders are happening, and there's something else going on. There could be a cult and breaking into the school. What's like it doesn't everything it changes. It's all different and it's all based on the decisions you make. And I love that. I love it's the butterfly effect. You step on a butterfly and everything changes, and that's what this is. You go left or you go right, but you're going to get a very different story. And I love that. And you can go back and you can play them all, so you're not missing anything.
Wow. Well, it's probably no big surprise what my number one pick is, and that's Donkey Kong Bonanza. So, yeah, number 3 pick from Barry, number 2 pick from Greg. I picked it number 1, and this again another surprise for me. My number 2 and my number 1 pick were big surprises in games that I didn't think I was going to play and didn't think I was really going to enjoy that much. But Donkey Kong is one of those games that again, it only comes along so often. Usually, Nintendo is the one that made it. Super Mario Odyssey was the last game that I can remember that I just got into this much and said I have to play this game more and more and beat it. And yeah, I wasn't excited about it in the beginning. I wasn't, thinking I would enjoy it, but it really drew me in, and it's my style of adventure platformer. That's my jam. And Donkey Kong Bonanza did it well, and I had a ton of fun with this game. I did get the DLC, but I haven't played it yet. But that goes to show you. I mean, going from someone that didn't enjoy it or didn't think I was going to enjoy it that much to go ahead and playing it all the way through and buying the DLC as soon as it came out. Like we'll tell you that like I just know I'm going to enjoy it when I do get a chance to play it. So yeah, that's my number 1 pick for game of the year. So we did a little math, did a little, calculating and everything. And so number 1's probably no big surprise. You probably already doing the math in your head and you already figured out. Yeah, I get it. The rest of them, we kind of had an interesting situation this year, guys. We had a tie that we have no way of really breaking it, and so we just have a tie, and that's just how it is. So we have our number 3 pick was also a tie, but there was a way to break it too. So number 3 comes in at Xenoblade X. So gets the number 3 for the game of the year. And then a tie for number 2 was Hollow Knight and 100 Line. Both coming in at a tie of 3 points that were both mentioned the same amount of times on other lists, and they're dead set a tie. Of course, number 1 is your Donkey Kong Bonanza. So getting mentioned by all 3 of us in different places, first, second, and third from all 3 of us. But no surprise that Donkey Kong Bonanza would win out this year. But the rest of them, this is one of the most spread out of points that we've got. I mean, in terms of overall points, Donkey Kong got 6, and then Hollow Knight and 100 Line got 3 each. And then Xeno X and Ball Pit both were tied for 2, but Xeno X was mentioned more often in other lists. And so that's what pushed it up to the actual third place. So Ball Pit ended up with 4th. And then Dragon Quest and Split Fiction ended up with 1 point each as well. So yeah, a little bit more spread out, but of course, a dominant Donkey Kong at the top. Greg, what do you think about this year's picks?
Yeah, I mean, it really makes a lot of sense. And pretty much after your glowing review of Ball Pit, that's pretty much on my list to check out, like, probably before the end of the year, I hope. So, um, I that could have made it even things more trickier for you to figure out if it made my that high up there, but you don't have to worry about going back and editing this. So, but yeah, it was. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza definitely deserved it. It's an excellent game, and as I said, I feel like that's like more of the true launch title of the Switch 2 in my eyes. Is I was unfortunately heavily disappointed by Mario Kart World, but yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Barry, what do you think about this year's picks?
These are this is what I like. I like when there's a diverse list. I like where there's different picks of different genres to just show, because again, this year didn't really have that pillar. Donkey Kong was the closest thing, which obviously it rated for all of us, but it wasn't the full on standout. It didn't truly dominate any category like other games have between the three of us. And there was sadly no competition that came to that level even. But by with that type of situation, you get a more diverse list. You get a broader list. You get a lot of great games that just miss the mark. And any honorable mentions, they're honorable mentions for a reason. It's because we can only do top three. But it's not like, oh, the top three are so much better than the others. It could literally be like a point 0.1 or a point 0.01 more. They're all great games, and 2025 is no exception with how many great games there are. Just a testament. And like Greg said, like Ball Pit, uh, it's a game I have. I got both the Switch and Switch 2 through my partnership with Devolver, and it's one of those where I was gonna play it and I just didn't. And I'd love to play it if I didn't have to finish Dragon Quest 2, and if Metroid Prime 4 wasn't Thursday, and if Octopath Traveler 0 wasn't Thursday, and if Sonic Racing Crossroads Switch 2 Edition wasn't Thursday. There's just too many games. There's so much, and the holidays and everything. So it's maybe one day I'll get the Ball Pit, but I'm kind of scared now. If you played a game for 10 hours, God knows what it'll do to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It and this is one that I could definitely see myself playing a lot more when I'm traveling as well. Like it will be something that I'll go back to as I travel for sure. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see like after you guys play it, where you would place it. Would it
You know
change
what you
things?
could be playing more while you travel, Steve?
No, no, no. I have no idea.
Oh man, I was expecting you to actually say AI because I was going to tell you Tap Wizard too, but
Oh, it's playing itself right now. Like I haven't logged on forever, so I've probably beaten the game by now. Just letting it sit there and play. No, like I realized I have not today was the first time that I actually booted up my Switch. I've only been playing on my Switch 2 for a while, and so there's a number of games that are only on my Switch right now because I'm trying to save space on my Switch 2, and AI is one of them. And so I haven't even booted up my Switch for until today. It was like 2 or 3 months since that happened, which actually surprised me because I thought I'd be bouncing back and forth between the two, but nope, just on Switch 2. Oki Rep says in the chat that he's got 45 hours in a Ball Pit. That's pretty awesome. I think he was one of them, one of the few that I kept hearing more about that they enjoy it, and I was like, okay, let me try this thing. It's up for some game awards. People in our community are enjoying it. Let me try this thing out, and pleasantly surprised that I did.
see, I wound up bouncing back and forth between my Switch and Switch 2 daily. I play
Hmm.
games on both because, like you, I want to keep my Switch 2 memory as clear as possible. And if I could play it on the Switch and keep that, I'll put it on the Switch and play it on the Switch because I have 2 terabytes there. I only have the one
Hmm.
terabyte on the Switch too, and those games take up way more.
Yeah.
But it's wild. And I'm tired of these games that are just Switch or Switch 2. Like Mortal Kombat's like that. You don't get both. You have to buy one or the other. Stop
Yeah.
that. Give us Switch 2
Yeah.
versions.
Yeah.
Let us buy the Switch and get the Switch 2 and you get 2 versions of the game.
Yeah. I've been buying the Switch version and then buying or getting the enhancement.
Do that.
Um,
Yes,
because like all of a sudden,
absolutely.
like I have 2 different versions of the game, so I technically could put it on the other system and this system, like,
Yeah,
which confuses me sometimes because if you go to the eShop, it's like, oh, is this game is free? I was like, is it really free? But it's because you own the other one, and it's a little confusing. But yeah, that's what I've been doing is getting the
do
the
it.
Switch One version.
Because if you buy the Switch 2 version only, then you don't actually like the Switch 1 version in the eShop shows you as you have to buy it, and you
Yep.
can't put that version on your Switch. But if you buy the Switch and then buy the upgrade, you could have it on the Switch or Switch 2.
Yep.
Um,
That's
Another
that's what I did
confusing thing
for.
is if you go to your game, do it,
Yep.
do it that way. But if you go to your game key cards, there's no icon to tell you if it's Switch or Switch 2. So like Dragon Quest 1 and 2, for example, there's a Switch and a Switch 2 version of the game. They're different builds. They both will appear, and there's no way to know which version is Switch 2 and which version is Switch. Other than if you're on the Switch, you can't put the Switch 2 version on it. That's
Sure.
it. They
But if
needs
you're
to
on the
put a little
two,
icon in the corner. Yeah, they needs
hmm,
to put like a little just in the corner, there's a Switch or that banner on top or something
yeah,
because it's so weird that there's no way to differentiate.
that is
It's
weird.
stupid.
Yeah. Well, let's quickly. I think we won't have to spend a lot of time on like talking about each game, but what have you been playing lately? Kind of run through your list, and especially if it's games that we haven't talked about already in our rundowns. But what have you been playing lately, Greg?
Well, I was playing a lot more of the AVGN, so I did go through and I did beat the final boss there. So it's just a pretty short game. It was just quick 7 levels. I did have a lot of fun with it, but I also feel like I had to rely on like the emergency power up on your last life a lot, and that's probably what really held it back from trying to play like putting it on any of the lists that I had because I did enjoy the game 'cause it's a lot like Mega Man, but you actually don't get to get any powers from the boss that you defeat. But I felt like I had to rely on like the helper mode a little too much just to even get through and complete the game. Um, but yeah, that was the primary one that I played a lot. I was trying to jump into the Metroidvania game right before the podcast, and I only got through like still like in the prologue section of the game, so I'm not even anywhere close to being able to put it on the list. But I'm hoping to get a lot more time here before mine and Barry's next podcast and the bonus episode. So hopefully I'll have a lot more to say about that one there. And then still doing the normal Roblox type game that we go into the winter holidays. They have the winter events that go on, and unfortunately, that continues to suck some time away from the Switch and Switch 2 games at times. And then still doing the Cookie Run Kingdom game over on mobile, and that's still a lot of fun as that 40-day castle upgraded down to just less than 24 hours now. So tomorrow I'll finally have that complete. So nice there too. And then for the arena mode, I'm now up to like the top like 18K. So I'm really advancing a lot further as continue to enjoy the arena mode there. But yeah, those are pretty much the main staples that I've been talking about for quite a while that unfortunately have been out for at least over a year for most of the games, and nothing really that was really brand new outside the Game Check games.
Nice, Barry. How about you?
On Switch, still doing my usual Pokemon Unite and Asphalt Legends Unite. I did boot up the Game Boy NSO because there's the Metroid Prime or Metroid 2 icons, and I went and messed around with Game and Watch Gallery 3, and I made me wonder why they haven't done a Game and Watch Gallery for Switch, like all of them, like that would be perfect for the Switch. But I messed around with Donkey Kong, which is very different than Donkey Kong NES, but a lot of fun. On the Switch too, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. I had beaten it for I think for the last podcast, or was about to beat it, but then they added all those new extra missions for free. So I went back and I beat those. There was a lot of added stuff, which kind of makes me think the game wasn't complete. Like the game was supposed to come out like now, but it switched spots with another game because now it's like, oh, here's all the rest of the stuff we didn't put in the game. But at least they gave it to you for free and didn't charge you. Kirby Air Riders is the other big game I've been playing on the Switch too. Just a massive amount of stuff. PC still doing Final Fantasy 14, and on mobile still doing Mario Kart Tour, the New York Times games, LinkedIn games, and Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I have a lot of the games that I talked about earlier in my list. Try to get in some time. I downloaded a bunch of the demos. So just a reminder, there's a bunch of cool Switch 2 get demos out there. So Dragon Drive is one of them, but also Trails in the Sky. First chapter is available, as we talked about earlier. It's the prologue to the actual game, and
Yeah.
it saves. So definitely check it out. And then Star Wars Outlaws, not Hunters, Outlaws, and then Street Fighter 6, which you had told me about the story mode in that game. I didn't realize how like it's completely different. It's a different game
Yeah,
for Street Fighter 6.
it's a
I didn't
full-on
expect it at
RPG.
all. Yeah, it's completely different. So
Yeah,
that's cool.
awesome.
Yeah, and you can play quite a bit in the demo as well. It doesn't save or anything like that, but you can get a really good understanding. I threw me for a loop that the buttons are different than other Street Fighter games. It's like, you know, your modern controls over it. So it's like, instead of having a punch button and a kick button, you have just your like 3 different hits, but you have a throw button or a grab and throw button. You have a combo button that you can hold down. I was like, oh, that's different. Because I'm used to like the traditional like high kick, low kick, you know, and then high punch, low punch, and, you know, powerful and all those different things. So it was different. I'm fine with it, but it was different. And then another game that I played was Formula One Legends. I don't recommend it. Um, that's my mini review on that game. And then another game that's actually free, at least it was when I got it on the eShop, is called Melon Lizard. It's like a 7-level game where you have to move this lizard onto a screen to get a melon, and it definitely looks like it was built by someone for their class. Um, and they get kind of difficult because you have to avoid enemies, and you're just moving and hiding. And that's really all you're doing in the game. And I think it's just like 7 levels, but it's free, so check it out. You're not gonna waste any money on it, but it's an interesting
Free.
game.
It's 99 cents for me.
Oh, I got it for free. So I don't know. At some point, it was on sale for free, I guess. So I don't know how it all worked out, but yeah, so I played a little bit of that too. Well, let's move into quickly talk about what games are going to be coming out over the next couple weeks until the next episode, which again is is 2 weeks from today, which is December 16th. And on that list are just a few games that are coming out on December 4th, specifically like Toxic Crusaders and Football Manager 26 and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds and Octopath Traveler 0. And there's another game. Oh, right. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond finally coming out, all on December 4th alone. And then a few other games that are going to be coming out, like Final Fantasy 7, and then the remastered Twin Pack, if you want to get those games as well. Farming Simulator, Ultimate Sheep Raccoon, which I know is on the top of all your lists as well. Romancing Saga, Minstrel Song Remastered International is coming out on my birthday, December 9th. You've already played that, didn't you, Barry?
Yeah, we have you have the reviews
Yeah.
recorded. You just said
Yeah.
whenever you put it out.
Yeah.
I played that.
So yeah, several other games. Detective Girl. Are you guys into the Detective Girl games? I don't. Does that fall into
No.
that category of like I don't know anything about it, but it just looked like a game that maybe some people would be interested in. So yeah, lots of games, especially on December 4th. that are going to be dropping. Greg, what are you hoping to play over the next couple weeks?
It's pretty much just to be for sure Metroid Prime 4. So I really love the Prime series and really enjoyed all the original trilogy. And I'm glad to see that is the start of like a possibly a new trilogy. They haven't really said, but they did say it was pretty much separated from the original trilogy. So it's pretty much just probably going to be Metroid Prime 4 along with any other Game Chat games that I need to catch up on here. So
All
I'll
right.
probably be most likely candidate then.
All right. I also I skipped over that the Rogue Prince of Persia is coming out on December
Yeah.
16th as well, the same day as the next episode. Barry, what are you be playing?
Metroid Prime 4 is the next big one, but I still have Dragon Quest 2 to go back to, Octopath Traveler 0. I'm one of the game I'm doing for Game Chat, or at least a review, Montezuma's Revenge, 40th anniversary, a game like Boulder Dash that I grew up with. It was the first adventure game that I really played on the Atari, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that is. Rogue Prince of Persia would be cool if we can get some review codes, Steve. Hint, hint. Maybe we can make some magic.
I know
Uh,
some people at Ubisoft.
yes, yeah, exactly. See if you can get us some codes. That's going to be the main thing, and then to attempt to go back to my backlog, because there's so many games still that in this year that I haven't been able to play because there's so many things, and don't even start on next year. Freaking starts with Trails, which should have been out this year. They bumped it, so I'm like, oh, I'm kind of glad you bumped it. Thank you. You give me a breather.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still on the fence about Metroid Prime 4. I need to I want to look into some of the reviews because I know they just dropped, I think today or yesterday. The embargo dropped, and so I want to look into that. But yeah, I think I will be spending time going back in the backlog. Maybe I'll play AI. I'm not promising anything.
Do it. Do it.
Maybe
Do it.
I'll eventually go back and play some Xeno X on Wii U. But yeah, I'll definitely be moving forward in the other games that I'm playing. Play some more Hades 2, play some more Ball. Uh, I'm blanking on the name of the game now. Ball Pit. And then those things that will be definitely occupying my time here and there as well. And actually getting some time in with Hyrule Warriors because I have yet to actually put it in my Switch yet. Um, and then
So
hopefully,
good.
I'd love to be able to get that Mewtwo in Pokemon. So I need to beat the game first, so I can actually get that too. So lots of things to play. But yeah, we'll be back in a couple weeks. Barry and Greg will be covering the Game Awards, which are happening on December 11th. So, as well, if you want to kind of watch them with us, hop in our Discord. We have a thread in there that you guys can jump in and kind of watch together and tell your thoughts about what's going on as we watch live as well. So, if you don't want to watch the Game Awards with other people in our community, be sure to do that in our Discord. Again, that link is going to be in the show notes and the YouTube description as well. And while you're at it, make sure you follow us on social media and do all those things as well. Again, live every other Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Normally, we were a little late start today, but that's typically what time we go live on both YouTube and Twitch. We'd love to have you guys jump in the live chat and interact with us as we discuss all the gaming news. So we are almost at 3 hours, guys. So we're gonna
Oh
call it
wow.
quits for the Game of the Year episode. But always great to talk video games with you guys, and looking forward to your guys' episode in a couple weeks. I'll be out, and then we'll take our holiday break, and then see you back in January. So, Barry, anything to close us out?
Just hopefully you enjoyed this episode and enjoyed 2025 gaming as a whole, and look forward to 2026 and play some games. Hopefully, some games we talked about today you either hadn't heard about or were on the fence of, and we helped, push you over the edge to give these games a shot. Because if they were mentioned tonight, in all but one category, they were worth it. If they were mentioned in the other category, stay far, far, far away from them.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg, any closing thoughts?
Pretty much just agree with what Barry said, and if he wants to double down and add the PlayStation 5 as a reward for finishing AI, then maybe that's what it'll take to further push me to want to like, go through and
Oh no. That ship has sailed. That was a surprise for you guys, okay?
Yeah.
I will give you a test. You don't give a test and then
oh
say, "Oh, well,
sure.
if you had done this, you were
Mm-hmm.
gonna get this," and then suddenly go, "Okay, I'll do it now." No, you're only doing it for the PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't
Mm-hmm.
what the assignment was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Let us know if you actually
You're
believe
moving
him
the
in the
goalpost.
comments.
No, that's not. Look,
Ooh,
Steve, I mean, I could easily charge you like $10,000 for the World Cup, but I'm not. I don't do that to my friends.
I still need my
I
tickets.
gifted you games. Even the games I gifted to you. I didn't ask you to buy the games. I bought the games. I
That's
was
true.
giving you as a test. It was a 4-hour investment in your entertainment to see, and then it was going to help you guys out,
So we're just trying to
for the
stretch it out and
holiday.
enjoy it as much as we can.
No, don't say that.
exactly.
Nah.
You can't say that. That's bull. That's bull, and you know it.
All right.
Aren't
Well,
you not supposed to lie?
I,
I think it was bold
you
that you're
know,
gonna offer a PlayStation 5.
No, you don't. I'm a generous person, okay? I'm the one who bought you the game to begin
if
with.
this episode that's almost gone 3 hours has taught us anything, it is that there are many, many, many great games out there, and I have found them, and I keep playing them instead of AI. Is what happens. But anyway, we're gonna wrap this one up. But thank you guys for tuning in as always, and be sure to like, subscribe, share with other people, and happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you next time.